Nope. Well, I know you guys could hear us. Give me a second to get the camera working. There we go. Here we are.
We're there.
What's up, everybody? I'm here tonight with Aaron from Steadfast Fenders and also a bike mechanic, and Nick, a former bike mechanic.
Yep.
And I actually didn't ask you what you're doing now.
I went back to my old job. We're doing like tire testing equipment. So it's good for Akron, you know, being in the tire business.
Who do you test tires for?
So we make equipment. It's like in manufacturing. So it's quality control for manufacturers. So we make like Goodyear, Michelin, Continental, all the big names.
It's not it's not Smithers, is it?
No,
because they just do tests, so they probably buy the kind of equipment you make.
Yeah. Yep.
I used to do work for them. I used to do their photography.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's a strange company.
Small world.
Yeah. They have this real strange. I felt like I was like, my girlfriend doesn't believe it was tire. She would always be like, tire testing.
Oh, tire testing.
Like, I pull into a garage and the door closes behind me. They're right there by Nuevo.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you up to in there?
And they're still privately held, but they're like, what, 100 years old? It's just the whole thing was weird. Anyways, I think they fired me because I wasn't willing to do a bunch of accounting work. I'm like, here's the price, just pay it.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know?
I don't work for you. Give me health care if you want me to do a bunch of numbers. Anyways. So one of the reasons I have the guys on tonight is they are hosting a bike swap in Missing Falls Brewery, downtown Akron, the old BF Goodrich factory, on Saturday from 12 to 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There's a link in the chat. If you do !Roundup, it'll pull up their site, so you guys, anyone who's interested in coming and checking it out, could see the link. And through their Instagram, we'll link to the bike registration, bike reg. Does everyone just says bike reg?
Bike reg is great.
Bike reg, yeah. I always say that, but I don't think I'm now. I'm like, have I ever said that out loud? Is that what everybody else says?
Yeah, it's supposed to sound.
So yeah. Anyways, those are the basics. But I thought we'd do a little bit of an intro. So I don't know if Aaron, you want to, like I already kind of said what you're up to, but talk about the fender thing and your.
So I'm kind of the guy behind Steadfast Fenders. It's a customized gravel and mountain bike fender company that you can get completely 100% custom graphics on one fender if you want to. So, if you like Metallica and you want like some SpongeBob on it, you can fit that in there too. So it's, I've been doing it for about 3 years or so. I've done riders and teams across the United States. It's been a fun little creative project with it. Thank you. Appreciate you pulling that up.
Yeah.
It's been, working with a lot of NICA teams and everything. A lot of the NICA teams have really fun mascots, so they work really well. And I do have a new series with Micah from Akron with the workshop or work studio, and he was generous enough to donate some graphics to it, and they came out really, really, really cool.
Yeah. And then, did you say that Mike also did the design for the event?
For the Roundup, too, yeah. It perfectly captured exactly what we were thinking with.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of telephone or cell phone screenshots and stuff like that of what we were thinking, and Micah totally nailed what we were thinking with it, so.
Awesome. So you have some designs, but then people could get whatever they want.
Yeah, and actually, the Burrito Breath, that's a really cool one, too, with another Akron local guy, too.
Yeah.
So, he was... we've always gone with a pink gorilla, so he was able to really capture it really well. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
And then, so also you're a bike mechanic at Ernie's
Bike Shop down in North Canton. I'm the service manager down there. I've been there for on and off for 23 years, so I've done a bike or two over that amount of time. So yeah, it's a really fun job. Love being around the bikes and everything, and that's kind of where Nick and I kind of met 3 years ago. So he happened to be working there too, and got along really well and everything, and started riding quite a bit and everything. So, and that's kind of where the idea. We were just kind of working on bikes one day, and I'm kind of a hoarder with bike parts and stuff like that. So
you're in the
exactly. I'm in heaven right now. So, so it was just kind of, we talked about just throwing out the idea of having this bike swap meet and stuff like that. So it kind of started from there, and it's been a lot of just like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? And it's been pretty seamless with just our thoughts kind of being pretty much in line with everything. So
Did you guys, to find Missing Falls, did you hit up Kenny? Did one of you guys know Kenny, or is that a coincidence?
So like I met Kenny because like 2 of my good friends work there at Missing Falls 3. I mean, from 4 really now, I guess. So it started out like my buddy Dubs and AJ worked there, and then Dubs got his little brother working there. But we just knew like Kenny from going on like Ryan's rides.
Oh, okay.
From like Yeti Squad and stuff. So it's cool. Like we had met with Ryan to kind of talk to him about like maybe he would want to be involved or and so we met him down there, and he kind of helped introduce. Like met Kenny before, but he was like, "This is the guy you want to talk to. He rides bikes and he'll be into it."
Cool. Yeah, Kenny had just talked to me about maybe doing like a separate live stream to do beer tastings when he puts out a new beer. I'm like, I'm down with that.
Yeah,
so,
drive a hard bargain, dude.
Yeah, give me one of the tin logos back there to put up. But yeah, during the pandemic, when I first started doing this, he would be leaving the brewery when they were closed to the public, but still making beer. And he'd be like, "Hey, do you want me to drop off a crowler?" And so he would drop it off outside with a glass, and then I'd be like, "All right, everyone, I'll be right back." And so I'd go like grab it, and it'd be like already 10 o'clock, and I'm like, "Should I crack the crowler right now?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, why not?" Then it'd be midnight, and just like down here drinking a crowler to the face, like totally. There's a famous or a nerdy inside joke of abort, because there's one night where I guess I just completely zoned out and I was just staring at the monitor, and I think I was looking at something on the internet, kind of just forgot I was on the stream, and Ben actually texted me separately. He was like, abort, and I looked down and I was like, oh yeah, I'm on the internet.
Oh boy.
Shut this down.
Oh boy.
So yeah, that's a cool place to have it. For anyone who's in the area and comes to Missing Falls, it's their room down the hall, because when Otis did the Otis Roubaix last year, I'm like, there's a couple people here that I'm not seeing. And they were sitting in the brewery, and they didn't realize we were all hanging out around the corner. I think you guys are spilling into the hall, though?
Not this first year.
Okay.
Yeah, we were that was kind of like the plan B if we needed extra room. But we'll be kind of nice and cozy on the banquet room this year.
They're saying the volume, so I'm going to kick it up. You're right, it is, because I recorded a video down here, and I need it much lower for that. So should be a little better now. You can see it's, yeah, now faders are kicking a little higher. So, yeah.
Do I need to lean into that?
No, you don't need to lean in. That was my other joke, because that's what Aaron does and drives me crazy.
Other Aaron,
yeah.
Girlfriend Aaron's do.
Yeah.
It's just the thing Aaron's do. Like.
And I will say that Ryan was a huge factor involved, and between getting us connected with Missing Falls and then leading us to Micah. Like he saw what we were kind of shooting for, and like, oh, Micah's your guy for that too. So he was awesome in kind of getting everything,
making all those connections for you.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, he's great at that. Like, it's so cool. And then he'll have a table there as well.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, unofficial Dirty River, I think.
Unofficial.
Yeah,
so Otis,
unofficial,
like
official,
Otis'
yeah.
own.
Clean Creek.
Yeah.
Incognito.
Yeah. I feel like I'm the unofficial recipient of Otis, like unofficial Dirty River. Like I was showing you earlier, 2 of my bikes come from Otis, and then, but yeah, just bike parts over the year. And he's bought out some other bike shops as they've closed, so I've like helped him unload, and then I'm like, what about this thing?
Help it a little bit more, right?
Yeah, okay. It should be a little better now, but you guys could always turn it up at home too. Come on.
Yeah, crank it.
Yeah.
Let me get this angled a little better. Yeah.
Also, where's the cat? So I think you kind of had a little bit of an introduction, but
yeah.
So you weren't riding a bunch before you started being a mechanic, or did those kind of go at the same time?
No, the mechanic came like kind of after. So like I raced BMX when I was a kid, like super into that. We travel around, do nationals. I met a lot of people that are still like into bikes, that I'm friends with from BMX. And so it kind of faded away from that when I was like, I don't know, 20s, you kind of start working and do other things. I'd still ride it occasionally, and I didn't have a bike with gears till I was in my 20s. I mean, I bought a giant Rome from Bessessi's, and I go like 15, 20 miles and just like, I am killing it. Like I'm out here just destroying miles and, just ignorant to the whole thing of like, what it could be. And then it was like right after the pandemic when Ryan moved across the street from the north side to the building he's in now. Aaron Novak was doing HVAC, and he's like, hey, Ryan needs furnaces and air conditioners. He's like, I'm thinking about doing like a trade with him. And so we got some bikes, and I mean, that literally changed my life. Like, the whole trajectory of my life just totally changed from getting that bike. It was just like...
Did you get a Space Horse?
Grill Monsoon.
Grill Monsoon.
The root beer one. It's
Yeah.
awesome color.
Did Novak get a Space Horse?
He got a Space Horse.
And that's
Yeah,
the
he
one
got
that Cat rides now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I remember like me and him getting those bikes, and we were just like went riding on the trail. We're like, dude, these bikes rip. Like, this is so much different. Like, and then we all did the Gap Trail that year, and it kind of just changed. I mean, everything. And so, then that's when I started working at the bike shop. Was just like I just got so into it. Just I'm like, you know, that Tom Segura bit, just like bikes, you know, like just dove head over heels for it, and just like changed my life. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I rode a bike my whole life. It's that little truck that I'm sitting behind the other ones, but I never thought about them. Like, same thing. Ride down to Peninsula, go to the Winking Lizard, ride home, and be like, yeah, I'm riding long days. And I was like meeting a couple people, and Otis opening the shop, and then just learning about so much more. Like, I didn't know what the parts of my bike were called. I didn't care. Like, I
it was like
rode bikes always, but I didn't think anything of it. Yeah, didn't know about bike packing, didn't know about gravel. I was telling you guys when we started discovering off-road, I had gotten into vintage 10 speeds, and that's when I was just hammering them.
Yeah, just ripping out there getting it, you know?
Yeah, pretty soon that's when you learn, like, oh, you don't have to be completely uncomfortable when you're doing off-road stuff.
Yeah. There's a different life out there.
Because you were saying you were riding your Giant, like, at first.
Yeah, I would take that to, like, East Rim and just, like, had no, you know, like, it's definitely better than being on a BMX bike out here, you know? Like, but I'd be bottoming the suspension fork out, and it was, like, 700 by 32C tires. Like, it was not meant for what I was doing, you know? And it was, like, an entry-level bike, really, too. It was, like, you know, maybe a $500 bike. It was nice, but, like, yeah, I mean, I was doing what I wasn't supposed to.
I look back, and I'm glad I never broke anything. Like, I mean, I had to have my wheels trued all the time, but you know,
yeah, right.
Again, could have really, I don't know. And some of those old French parts, like there's certain brands that are like have been recalled and stuff, and I would have never known.
Yeah,
known any.
My French isn't that good. I wouldn't know.
Robert said it's 15 degrees there in Detroit. I think it's even colder
it's
here
colder
today,
here.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's
like,
definitely colder.
It's like 12 or something the last time I looked.
Yeah, it's
got you beat, Detroit.
Yeah.
I actually haven't this last, I rode once last week. This week I haven't at all. I tweaked my back again. I was actually taking my wheels into Dirty River to get reset up tubeless. I let them completely dry out, which I have a real habit of doing. This time though, when they filled them up, I put it in my calendar 3 months out. So now I have no excuse, but I've never done that before. I just like, they go flat one day. I'm like, what's going on with these stupid...
Yeah, hate tubeless.
Then it's like, yeah, oh, you let the ceiling go totally dry.
You got a real calendar, like, in your phone? Like,
that's what I did now.
No kidding.
So,
okay.
yeah. So now I put a calendar notification. How does anyone else do it? Like, how do you know when...
We usually get it all the time where someone comes in with their tires, you know, it's not holding air. And it's usually, we discover that, you know, you put the little...
So with your personal bike, how do you... Because I put it in the calendar. How do you?
I feel like us in the shops, we're, you know, I mean, I don't have this collection right here, but I got a pretty good amount of bikes. But you know, there's always something that needs tweaking or worked on or something like that. So you know, you try to spend the time doing it, and sometimes it's just kind of like I've got a couple bikes that I favor more than others, but
so if one's been sitting, you would try and check to see that the ceiling's still good.
Yeah.
Or you might pop the bead and look.
I have a rough estimate. You know, I have a couple bikes that are set up tubeless, but for the most part, a lot of it's just tubed. You know, a lot of my commuter bikes and stuff like that, I just run tube because it's just easier like that. So
yeah, and that's why nothing hanging on the wall here as tubeless.
Right,
like I wouldn't set something to sit it there, but
yeah, usually if it's like the season's starting off, I'll pop some sealant into that, and you know, it usually falls around that same time frame and stuff. So yeah, nothing too scientific with it, but
yeah. I just
I'll give you credit for keeping track of that.
Now I am because I'm like I can't have this happen again because I literally put some air in with my little hand pump out on the road, and then the next day it was totally. I already came down an hour later. It was totally flat, and I couldn't get it to hold air. So I'm like, I was way too lucky. I had a tube with me. I wouldn't have been screwed, but it was like 20 some degrees out. You don't want to be messing with that if you don't have to. So I'm like, I just got to pay more attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've come to the point in life where things need to be written down.
Yeah, I'll forget it. Absolutely.
Dude, I guess too, like with your mountain bike, I guess just spring comes and you check it out
It's
again.
about that time.
Yeah, I always do
Yeah.
it in the spring. I'll kind of see like I mean, I have my bikes hanging like how all yours are. So when I like pull them down, I can kind of like shake the seat and like hear if there's any like sloshing around, but you'll like feel if there's some in there. And like I'll do the shimmy, like stand up on its back wheel and kind of shake the front wheel, and I can tell if there's some in there. But I always carry some with me too. I have like those little. I save the little stands, little individual ones, and I'll just fill them up with a big bottle and just carry one with me just in case.
Haven't needed it yet though.
I haven't, but it's like you'd rather have it not needed.
Well, I run the on my drop bar gravel bike. I run the standard casing Renaers, and so it's a joke, but it's also kind of true. By the time the sealant dries up, I've already ruined the sidewalls and need to put tubes in it anyway to get the last bit out of the tread. So, and those things are so hard to get to hold in the first place. I don't know if you guys have messed with them much.
Not much, no.
Yeah, I actually have an extra light casing and a standard casing on the gravel bike right now, and you have to monitor. You probably have to every 2-3 rides you're putting some pressure back in the tires and stuff like that. So you really you just can't let get too far. And I always have a tube with them, but they ride awesome, but they're finicky. Like someone compared it to it's like F1 stuff. It's like really nice, but then you're always tinkering.
Yep.
You can never just whereas the gunner, I don't think about it because I put the thicker tires on there, and that's why I just kind of lost track. It never loses air, and like just wasn't thinking about it. So
if it broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
it's gonna create more problems.
Yeah, throwing flat on the road.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh yeah, this through axle. Do I have a right tool? I'm pretty old school. I had like Yonda at the mechanic at Dirty River really show me how the cable routing on the derailleur like of 11 speed, because I could build any vintage bike up in almost no time, but now everything's such a pain, and like those barrel adjusters in the derailleur and all that stuff.
Or not in the derailleur too.
Yeah,
that's a big pain also.
Yeah, just in the shifter.
Yeah, like who designed this whole thing?
This is a little bizarre. Or like those SRAM ones too, like you have to have the tool to align it.
Yeah.
Like you gotta put it in like the second gear and then that adjusts your.
I haven't had to do that much though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Still, I've been lucky with that one too.
Logan bailing you out.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
It's funny because I am like, the only SRAM I've ever ridden is I borrowed. Actually, it was the gunner when it was still Otis's, and he had a flat bar. He actually had the really cool whiskey mustache carbon bars on it. Love those. But he had electronic SRAM on that.
Whoa.
But yeah, it was really cool. And then I borrowed a Salsa War Road from him that had drop bar mechanical SRAM, and I was like, I hated it. Like being drop bar mechanical. I think Shimano it's whatever you're used to.
Right.
Yeah.
But I absolutely, and so it's always a joke on here that I'm one of the Shimano guys and no one else is.
I love Shimano.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I'm usually such an outcast. I was like treading carefully.
Yeah, especially like their hydraulic brakes, I feel like are so much better. Like I like the GRX so much better than any SRAM.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you guys know who Terry Berenson is? The YouTuber, New Yorker. He's out in San Fran right now, but he pops in here and he always says, "What's up, you bunch of SRAM haters?" And I'm like, "No, it's just me. Everyone else here is on your side."
Now you got 3 of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I got like a SRAM on my mountain bike. Actually on my Karate Monkey, but I still have Shimano brakes on it because they just I feel like work so good.
Much better.
Yeah. When I've ridden, like I have like
Twisting around here.
When it comes to flat bar, it doesn't really bother me. It's really like the drop bar SRAM that I don't really like. I don't like the double, like that.
Oh, the double
weird
click.
double push, and then when you're at the end of the range, you don't know that. Whereas Shimano, like, you don't have to look because you just can't push it when you're at the end of the range. But
SRAM gets you with that. Like if you're really tired and you're going up a hill and you think you got that one gear, you get the one click, and then it's like no, no more.
Shimano for STI or old school friction shifting. Yeah.
I do like thumb shifters though. I'm a big fan of thumb shifters. Like I've got a few sets, and I mean, as far as being in the shop, seeing stuff that breaks or gets old and crusty and stuff like that, the thumb shifters it's by far my favorite setup on that one.
Clunky asked if I was getting rid of anything at the swap. My goal was to get myself together, and I just didn't. And then I also hurt my back, so I'm like, I can't like move stuff around.
Yeah.
So I'm like functional now, but I can't like bend over, and so I'm like I would have needed to go through stuff and decide what I want to get rid of. And I'm also, like I said, I'm not a total hoarder, but I'm kind of a hoarder.
Yeah, like, I might need that.
Like
someday.
Yeah.
I'm better off at selling like a complete bike that I know I'm not riding. Like I had bought a couple more down tube shifting like vintage road bikes and set them up. And then I'm like, okay, I've got like my sentimental ones. I don't need another one of these. And I was able to get rid of some of those. And like, it was fun to still tinker, clean them up, you know, do all like, make them look nice. But yeah.
So where's your main, like the main place you've got all your bikes from? Like Facebook or friends?
I think mostly Craigslist.
Okay.
Actually.
Craigslist. Still.
I used to, because I stopped buying bikes for the most part. But you got a compliment.
Oh, hey, thanks.
Did she do it?
No.
Oh.
She would appreciate it though.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coco.
Yeah, so I bought a lot on Craigslist. I would just be like browsing, and yeah, Woody actually, Roach Clips, who will be at the bike swap, like my second vintage bike after I had the Peugeot, is that Viscount Aerospace. He was like, check this out on Craigslist, and then I messaged the guy, and it turns out he was on Chestnut. He was like 2 blocks away.
way.
I like walked down there and bought it, from him and rode it home. Yeah.
Is that the one with the sketchy fork on it too?
The Death Fork.
Yeah, the Death Fork.
Yeah.
That was not their name though, right?
No, that's what sunk the company. People are calling it the Death Fork.
Death Fork.
So they recalled them all. It's got a cast aluminum fork, but the original versions, the way they attached to the steerer, like the aluminum had attached to the steel steerer, and it wasn't done right. And so a couple snapped, I think like 5 or 6. But
enough.
If you're one of those people,
that's plenty enough. Yeah.
So then they attached it better, and then in the third version they actually like put a rod through it, and that's what I have. And you could tell because you could put a magnet under it. I've just done all the research on it. But they recalled them all and replaced them with chrome forks for anyone who wanted them. So that's what makes mine cool, is it has the apparently safe Death Fork.
Yeah.
It's a big deal right there.
But it's funny, once I did all that research and learned that that's the bike when we found all like the industrial gravel and all the cuts.
Yeah.
So that's what I was riding when we were doing like super rough stuff, and I was still riding vintage bikes. And
no way.
then later I'm like, oh, I'm doing this on a bike that's got a fork called the Death Fork.
They can fold any minute.
Oh no. Is it still? Do we need that up?
Did they say we don't have any on?
Yeah, please turn up the mic. Can only. Okay.
Yeah, we got it. It's showing us that it's cranking. So, I mean, this thing's peaking. It's always an issue. People just got to crank it at home, I guess.
Turn it up to 11. Turn it up to crank it. Don't crank it in public. Crank it at
You
home.
have to crank it at home.
That is
a...
It's like a good name for a band.
Crank it to 11.
Crank it at home.
Right.
Like a bike pun, you know?
You guys see stuff come through, so maybe you have an answer to this question. I wouldn't, because I don't even know if a first-hand carbon runs. Second-hand carbon?
Yeah, I don't know that I would.
Just wouldn't?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, I guess it's just specific. I don't know. I just feel like people beat up bikes and like you just don't know what somebody did, or like if it's so easy, like people like I've seen bikes that came in the shop that people patched themselves and like painted over, and you really wouldn't notice it maybe right off the rip. But have somebody, I don't know. I just feel like you'd invest a lot of that money, and then you know that would suck if you're riding and then you get a death frame, you know, like something snaps. Like I don't know. I love steel frames though too. So yeah, steel's real.
Yeah, I just don't buy a carbon bike.
Yeah, yeah.
I do have one carbon bike. It's that vintage look that's lugged carbon with aluminum lugs. So they're glued in there. And like the joke that Yonda made, he's like, if that bike ever starts to feel comfortable, stop. Something is broken.
If it ever starts to feel comfortable.
I'm sure that thing is, it's actually, I've never ridden it. I started to build it up and then got busy with other things. But I'm sure that is the harshest ride you could imagine. Just carbon tubes into aluminum.
Yeah.
And then the pink bike over there is a Schwinn Peloton, and when I got that, it came with all kinds of sketchy carbon. Are they still up here? I have some SLK cranks I was riding.
I see them.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden my feet were just next to each other.
Yeah.
And the bars that are on there, they weigh nothing, but they have like 4 different like bends. And so it's not one piece of carbon. It's like
seems pretty.
And
safe.
I had 3 different mechanics say, I think the last one was Brent at All Around in Hudson. He's like, if you keep riding those bars, you're gonna have to get a new smile eventually, meaning they're gonna break and my face is gonna smash into it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's it. 2 other people have said this. I'm gonna take
Third
it.
time's a charm.
Everything else on this bike is breaking. I should.
Yeah, I like my teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Cycling Brian could hear it, and he's not cranking it.
Yeah, he's not cranking it.
See if we had any other questions while we were chatting. I do want to pull up some of the.
Was that creaked since new? That's a good one.
Creeks since
Creeks new. Love it.
Yeah, it's funny for me because getting into the vintage bikes, I loved I knew my bike was running well when it made no noise, and then when I started buying newer stuff, how hubs are all loud, people love the dedicated sound of a Paul or something like that. For me, I'm like, oh, I hate this.
I cannot do crime on this bike.
Yeah. What are those totally silent hubs? They're really heavy, but they're Otis has one.
Fixie?
No,
just kidding.
they are
I'm
geared,
just
but they're the way the bearings work, they make absolutely no noise. I can't think what those
I know. Otis is probably screaming right now.
Yeah, Pudgy's in here. He knows what they are too. He put one in my hand, and I was like on the counter.
Like a multiple gear.
He was
one,
like, "This
right?
thing is totally silent."
I'm brain dead right
yeah.
now.
Onyx.
Oh,
Yeah.
Onyx.
You ever messed with those? Have you ever seen those? Yeah.
I've seen them, but I
Yeah.
never.
Yeah, they make absolutely no noise. I have 2 Viscounts for sale if anyone's interested. With the death forks or without them.
We had a guy that wanted to put an Onyx on his trainer because he said it was too loud for the neighbors.
Hmm.
I'm like, that's a great idea. I think that your freewheel clicking's probably really bothering him.
On a trainer, I'm sure the freewheel's not as loud as everything else going on there.
Right. That's
Mine's
what
a
we were
wheel
backing
on,
up.
so it's loud anyways. It's a cheap Saurus M2. It's loud no matter what. But yeah, is that the thing that would...
Yeah, I don't think that's the problem, dude.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of other things going on.
It works like a clutch, Pudgy said.
These comments are fun.
What do I think about retro elastomer sus forks? I've got one that doesn't work right up behind us. That's what I think about.
Yeah.
And it's the second one that, my Trek obviously came with one that was too far gone at some point.
Yep.
Just put a rigid.
They look great on a shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that? A RockShox?
Yeah, that 20.
Yeah, that would have come on my Marin. But I amazingly with that bike found, so it says gold 1996 Marin over here. And it came with that fork, and it was listed. I bought it on eBay from Hungary, and the guy didn't list any details, so no one was buying it. So I got a really good deal on it. I just gambled that it might be my size, and then the suspension fork totally effed. And then I'm looking up forks. I find a Marin color matched fork in Italy, NOS for $75.
Meant to be.
No kidding.
It's not like a 96 T Marin is a super common mountain bike.
Right,
It's not it's not an unheard of one, but it's,
Yeah.
Huh. That's funny. My first full suspension bike I ever rode was a Proflex also. So I noticed
who
there was a
said
comment
that?
on there.
Oh, friends don't let friends ride Proflex. Oh,
Yeah.
because Proflex is the brand of bike.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not
was
even familiar with
probably,
that.
gosh, my brother and I, we were riding out at Snowshoe in '93. So it's, we got it was our big thing down there. We both, one of us would take the other, we'd share bikes, we'd swap bikes back and forth we were at Snowshoe, just riding for the weekend and stuff like that. So that was kind of a big experience coming from a fully rigid toe clipped mountain bike at that point. So yeah, it was cool at the time. I mean, it was completely different from everything else. It had a parallelogram fork and elastomer suspension and stuff like that. But we thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, things have changed quite a bit in
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know it's funny because suspension is something I don't in general like, but it's only because my impression comes from 90s and an 01 mountain bike, not good stuff that's out there
Right.
now.
He is not bad.
A Resto Mod Proflex. Wow, that's pretty fun.
I need to pull.
You need a picture?
Yeah,
it's
pull
pretty
one up.
good. Yeah, you'll like it.
If I could get this to, I'll just type it in. Proflex 856.
I think any Proflex will give you like a good idea of what it looks like. Does that come up on the screen too?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Oh, these?
Oh,
Is this
yeah.
what you're talking about?
Well, you got to see the fork though too.
Oh, yeah.
The fork is like
package
something
deal.
else. Yep. There we go, right there. Yep. That's a coil spring right there. That was one of the really deluxe versions. Right there,
Oh.
Oh, that's
yeah.
badass.
Let me get this fully on the screen here. Whoops. There we go.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
sweet.
Yeah. So this is early full suspension, like in the full
Yeah,
suspension.
probably like 93, 94, if I had to guess. Yeah, check out that fork. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, that is insane.
Yeah, you don't got to break the chain either to get it off. That's sweet.
Yeah. Wow, that is intense. Yeah, that's cool. I've seen stuff kind of like that, but that's definitely
Yeah, I like that the wheel like mounts on the backside. Like it looks like the fork's backwards.
Yep,
yeah.
yep. And cantilever brakes too.
Yeah.
It'll stop you real good.
Where are the rear brakes? Oh, they're way down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. How did the Roundup start? Did we get to?
Oh,
Yeah,
go
got
for
it.
it.
Yeah, it was Nick and I talking at the bike shop, like just geeking out about dumb old bike parts and stuff like that, and so both of us worked at Ernie's bike shop, so probably 2 years ago we got the idea to run like a swap meet out of the shop, so that kind of gave us like some pointers, and it gave us a good feel of kind of what we were looking for and stuff like that. And it wasn't until like, gosh, what was that, like November or October? We
Yeah.
really got the idea that like we should probably do this. I think this would be really cool. So I think more or less I didn't want to have it like where it was a bike swap. Like I guess when we thought of like part swap, it was like you'd go take your 57 Chevy fenders to the county fair and you're
Yeah.
setting them up on a blanket in the grass or something like that. So the first year we've added our own little like personality to it. Like we have a DJ come in. So,
Yeah, the brain wreck. You know,
Oh,
Tony.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tony.
Because he works 2 doors down.
Yeah, it'll be perfect.
Yeah.
He works at the desk at the tattoo shop.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's perfect. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
just having some fun with it and stuff like that.
Right.
It just, it's nothing really going on this time of year. So, and it was the week before Road Apple Roubaix. So
Yeah.
it just seemed like it was perfect timing for that. And us to kind of start the party on the year for everybody. So,
Yeah, offload the things you don't want, get that spring project rolling, you know?
fresh start for the year.
One thing I do like too is that, and I have a couple of them I think pulled up already, but you're having some, like also vendors that aren't just bike parts but bike businesses, which I think
Right.
will be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So there's definitely going to, like, if you show up, there's stuff to buy even if you're not finding the bike stuff you want.
Right.
So from like used bike stuff, because we did one at Dirty River, and we all brought our used stuff and we all know each other, and it was just like
it's just trading hands.
it's like,
Yeah.
we all know if I was going to get anything from you, I already would have got it from you.
Right.
So I do like this idea is going to, one, I think it'll broaden it with you guys doing it too,
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
just all the same people. But then like got Roach Clips up here who does like, his original thing is a roach clip for your Presta valve.
Yeah.
But now he's got some other little he does 3D printing, so cool little designs. He has dice ones, so just cool stuff to
Get some flair on your bike.
flair. That's the word.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah, they're
get the-
sweet. All the ones he has are so cool. Like,
Is what I did just pull up like Roach Clips toys, but I could also just scroll through your guys' stuff.
there we
Oh
go.
yeah, so you're also doing. I just realized. So you're just doing a donation with the food bank.
So we were kind of working on, the original plan was to have a raffle where like you could buy the tickets with it and everything like that, or you could basically bring in a food donation that every can you bring in, or every article of food that you could bring in, you get like a raffle ticket, and then we'd basically raffle off at the end of the night to the money, half the money would go towards the Akron Canton food bank, and then the other half would go to that person. So it's like we've been kind of flying by the seat of our pants here, so it's one of those things where we're trying to do that. But I definitely would at least encourage everybody, if you're coming out, bring like some kind of like a canned good or something like that. We have a big collection bin at the merch table and everything, so you could drop it off and you don't have to walk around
Nice.
with a can of green beans in your pocket. So
If you want to look cool, you could.
Oh, that's like
Keep
you're
this
saying
thing
the
up.
merch table too. The other cool idea, like you said, having Micah and having your own merch. So
Yeah, their own look to it. So
Yeah.
we'll have t-shirts and hats this first year. So we'd like to expand it. Like we want Woody to have some. I think a lot of our graphics kind of tend to lend themselves to some fun looks and fun things that we can kind of do down the road. So I think incorporating Woody or having other vendors that we have, whether it's Margaret from Zephyr Line, that she can basically do some hats for us and stuff like that. So it's
yeah, when I've
we
showed
got a lot
her
of
stuff,
plans here.
when I show her stuff on the stream, everyone loves. Yeah, Zephyr Line.
Yeah.
Really cool cycling caps.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Like from a lot of found fabric and stuff.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
Super unique. And then sometimes I know Micah's been doing like where he prints fabric and then she makes the caps out of that.
Yeah.
They're super cool.
So that's an ideal world right there for us next year, is to do something where it's kind of incorporating both of them to have our own unique stuff with that.
Like a cowboy cycling cap. Like a cowboy hat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like it pops out of the helmet and folds down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, is that?
I don't know the
That's a new
logistics
idea.
of it, but yeah, I mean, I'm just tossing stuff out here.
Yeah,
Like,
spitball.
yeah, spitball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was a brainstorming session.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get some opinions.
Yeah.
People let us know if they think that's a good idea.
Anybody want a cowboy cycling cap?
Yeah.
Speak up.
Yeah. I guess.
People do use those like full sunshade.
Oh,
on the
those are
helmet
sick.
thing.
Yeah, I see those on the towpath a
Yeah,
lot,
yeah.
dude.
It's a pretty cool.
I want to hate them, but I'm just like, damn it, it's so practical.
I know, it makes so much
It's like,
sense.
I want to hate it,
If I
but
was in my 20s, I would rip on this person. Now I'm like, man,
Yeah.
this
I
is
can
probably.
see the usefulness.
Yeah, I can't afford another burn.
yeah, right, dude. I just can't handle it.
And Margaret, the whole time she's been like, I mean, especially for us, just pulling this out of our butts, like trying to start the show. She's been so supportive. She was the first one to sign up for everything, and
Nice.
like it was never blinking, like to get behind us and stuff like that. So it was really cool to see to get the support from her.
I should pull up her Instagram while we're talking about it. I planned to do this beforehand, but then we all started chatting. But it should come up pretty quick. Yeah. I met her for the first time actually at another one of your vendors' events. Frank from Lugs Not Drugs does the Ann Arbor Handmade Bike Show, and she was up there. So I had known her caps and her hats forever, but I had never met her.
Okay.
And I'd asked Otis and Ben at Dirty River, like, oh, who is she? And she's like, oh, she comes in, sells the caps.
She
Like,
has
and
the hats there too.
I was like, have I met her? And they're like, no, you probably never met her because she just comes in and leaves. But so then we got to hang out at the Handmade Bike Show and like get to meet each other when I was up there, which is cool. And he's a great guy, Frank, too. So, and you guys haven't met him yet?
Not officially, no.
Yeah, he's cool and his stuff is cool.
And the
Yeah, stuff's awesome.
yeah,
But here's a look at some of the Zephyr Line stuff for everyone.
I have an old school Star Wars comic
Oh,
hat too from her.
oh, there's Frank right there.
Yep.
Oh, that's right, because they do collaborations.
Mhm.
There's another one between the two of them. Yeah.
Margaret's very popular.
Yeah, her stuff's the best. It's like the coolest handmade caps.
And from Cleveland too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she was out at Woody's.
And Woody.
Yeah, that's right.
Full circle, like a bike wheel.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that Woody's name isn't actually Woody?
Yeah, I went to
Okay.
school.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I did not know that for a long time after because I knew him from the bars and stuff.
He was still Woody at the bars?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
It was on cycling. It
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
cycling related at all. It was like he was a bartender at the matinee, and
Yeah.
he was friends with Wes and all that stuff. And yeah, we were just always hanging out. It was just Woody. I don't know when I learned that his name was Matt Woodyard, and the nickname comes from his last name. But I think it's a high school nickname. I think people.
Oh.
Call
Yeah,
it
they
Woody.
called him that, like, I think in middle school.
Yeah,
Still,
it's
like,
an
I
old-
remember, like,
yeah.
when they built the Akron skate park, he'd always be down there, and everybody
Yeah,
called him that then. Like,
yeah. I couldn't even tell you when I probably met him when he turned 21 because I think I'm probably 10 years older than Woody or something.
yeah, probably.
But he's one of the people that I really got into riding with, though, because I went out for a ride with my buddy Wes, and then we posted an Instagram photo, and Woody hit us up. He's like, "You all riding? Like, hit me up."
Yeah,
And
thanks
so
for the
like the
call.
three of us started riding all the time.
That's
Gregory
awesome.
subscribed to the channel.
And that's it. Gregory? Thanks, Gregory.
Awesome.
What's that? We should pull up Frank's account as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Lugs, not drugs. I wanted to show his stuff.
This stuff's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I
the second tab over there. Is that it?
oh, did I
That's
already
his
have it
website,
open?
I think. Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
I tried to open the actual website and then I didn't finish it. I think is the problem. Yeah. Hey, I actually knew him though. Look at this. Oh wait, I don't have it up on the screen. I got to change the scene down here. So I typed it in to find it, and look.
Copilot.
Yeah, ChatGPT knows who.
They're hip.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's made it, dude. He's made it.
You made it, Frank. If you're watching.
We're all proud of you.
I was surprised. Lugs Not Drugs is a phrase and brand created by Frank Rotundo. I was impressed. I didn't. You don't usually see that on smaller
Right.
stuff. So. No offense. I don't mean smaller stuff. Right? But, yeah, we're gonna head up to the handmade bike show this year again. They did a in the morning. They did a gravel ride. It's all gravel right outside Ann Arbor, like 3 miles.
That's awesome.
3 miles, and it's just gravel roads like everywhere. It's great. And then there's really good mountain biking right up there too. We did the DT trails. Have you guys ever done those?
I have never done them.
Oh, they're a blast. They're like, it's kind of like the down section of Hampton, but just way more of that.
Okay.
A lot of flow, like not a lot. There are features, but in a lot of places you could avoid them too. So if you do bring like a full suspension bike, you could hit the features in the rock gardens, but there's a lot of places where you could also have a gravel bike and avoid them, which to me is perfect.
Yeah,
Best of both worlds,
yeah.
right? So anyway, yeah, DT trails if you ever get. So we went up and rode those one day, then went and did the Ann Arbor Handmade Bike Show ride, and then went to the bike show, and he had I think 6-7 frame builders there. So
That's awesome.
We were talking about going this year just
Yeah.
to kind of like repay the favor of coming down
Yeah.
for us.
oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, you should, yeah. And Lugs Not Drugs is such a great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him out at Nutmeg in Connecticut originally, but then one year we did Higher Ground Hundo in Johnstown, PA, which is this brutal 8,000 feet of climbing, 70-mile ride, a lot of off-road climbing, and the weather was miserable.
The whole time?
Yeah, the whole time.
Okay.
And so like the night we were going to be camping, the second night, it's a city park right in Johnstown, and there was just this shelter space they have for concerts, and we're all just like sitting in there around one of those gas heaters, like those silver ones with the thing. We're just all like,
It's like all over.
and there's only like 10 of us because everybody else like either avoided the ride or then just instead of staying left right after it. So but Frank ate from I think sheets and got food poisoning, so he missed the ride.
Dang.
Just starting to feel better by the time we were hanging out, but that's a good way to get to know somebody,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so he's got really cool stuff. He'll be there as well. And again, like if you guys can't make it out, check out his, his online store. I should drop the link in there for him.
So we were also trying to, besides the vendors and stuff, we were trying to do like, whether it's organizations like local or bike shops, something like that. So we had Knobby Side Down, all my buddies down there from Dover. Like, so they do the Rain of Pain every July.
Oh yeah, I have
So-
friends who do that. People know from the channel, Lanky Cyclist, and I think Micah's done it too, hasn't he?
Yeah. I think it was 2 years ago I saw that he was on there. So, it's not many. I've been racing mountain bikes for a long time, and I've never had one that had a water slide in it. So, it's definitely so Kenny's kind of like the mastermind behind a lot of the stuff, and the trails. It's probably one of the best trail systems in Ohio at Camp Tuscazor. So.
Yeah.
100% of the proceeds from the bike race go straight back into the trail building and expanding the trails out there. So
nice.
whether it's purchasing land or purchasing equipment to basically expand the trails, it's awesome, So, and it's a great time, It's like I said, you got a water slide on this thing, and Kenny's got a big megaphone the whole time, like so. And last year for Steadfast, we did hot dogs. So we had a hot dog eating contest that every time you come through, you can grab a hot dog or 2 or 3 or 4, and I'd give you like a sticker that you put on your number plate. So it kind of kept track of who had the most hot dog eaten for the entire event. So I think we got up to like 12 or 13.
Yeah, wasn't it
last
like a
year,
younger girl that ate like 12
Yeah,
or 13?
yeah,
Yeah.
So
Watching Lanky's video on the Rain of Pain, I can't imagine. Is that the one you do as a relay?
you can do
Yeah.
solo too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so people. I can't imagine trying to eat hot dogs while doing that.
They say hot dogs make you climb everything a lot faster too. So
Yeah, Mike.
there we go.
I was too scared to eat the hot dog.
I was slanging.
Yeah. It came out of Aaron's pocket. So I don't blame him. Like,
Tyler Bergen became a member.
Hey, thanks, Tyler. New channel member. Yeah.
Thanks, Micah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, we rode down to Tuscazor, so we did.
You rode down there.
Yeah,
That's a good ride.
Yeah, so I think it was it a Century? Me, Aaron, and my buddy Dylan. Dylan's a really good mountain biker, and we rode just like country roads all the way down, camped, which the camp spots
Awesome
are
campground,
cool,
too.
like,
Yeah.
really cool.
Yep.
A guy came and delivered us wood, which was great because there was no way we were going to be able to get it. You know, we came up off the towpath, like by the dam,
It's a
camped up
climb.
there. Really great. And then the next day we rode the trails in the morning, and then we had to get home. Like it should have been a 3-day trip, not a 2-day trip. Like one day to ride the trails.
Yeah.
But I was also just on my drop bar gravel bike because I had ridden a Century or whatever to get to however long it was to get down there. It was a hike.
Yeah,
It was
it's a
70.
ways down there.
If it wasn't
for
100, it had to be over. We stopped.
It's for sure 70.
We stopped at 2 breweries on the way down. We stopped in Minerva at whatever the one in Minerva is, and then we stopped at Unhitched, which Micah does all the design for.
Oh, sweet.
So had like a 2 brewery ride down there.
Yeah.
Right.
Sat around the fire, then mountain biked in the morning. But then we took the towpath straight back, which was still a hike. You know?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
It is awesome having that towpath though.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can basically
That's-
go straight from here down to there.
And almost no elevation then when you
Yep.
do that. The way
Yep.
we had gone out was not that way.
Yeah.
My girlfriend now pre-approves every route that I come up with ever since we rode Tuscazor. But I didn't realize the trails go in one direction. There's not really a sign anywhere for
It
that.
can get confusing.
Yeah.
And then we also somehow got lost and we were on the new stuff that wasn't open yet. And we're like, how have we messed this up so bad? Like,
Yeah.
Some other mountain bikes who were really nice told us that we were going, like, you're kind of going in the wrong direction. So when you hit the next loop, you go
Okay.
this way. And they're really friendly and there weren't a lot of people out. So it was okay. We didn't cause a huge problem. But then we realized we're on trails that aren't open anymore. And they were flagged with those little like gas company or like pet flags things, the metal things with,
Right.
and I had got one stuck in my rear derailleur. And my bike was still running, but it was in there. And we were just talking about how when we get back to the trail, Ben was like, they'd be like, hey, have you guys gone on the off-road trail, like the new trails? Like you're not supposed to. We'd be like, no. And then they would look and I got
Like
one of
hanging
them
off, like,
stuck in like, moving over, like no.
Yeah, like trying to kick it off. Like, one us. I saw some guys down there, but it wasn't us. It wasn't us.
Yeah, that's my Tuscazor experience, of course. So is he having a table to try and get us back on track?
Yes.
To promote the event?
Yeah,
Or-
he's trying to collect all of his flags that he lost over the years. Too.
If anyone has any little red flags on it.
Yeah, Kenny will be there, and they just ironically enough, so Kenny and his wife Corey Ann and their friend Amy, they just did a 24-hour Zwift ride last Saturday.
I saw someone, it might have been it, but I
It
saw a
was
couple
him.
people post
Yeah,
about it.
I mean,
Because there was an event thing that people were doing.
probably yeah.
Yeah.
It was just the 3 of them, but it was
Oh, okay. They must
insane,
have been.
insane. Yeah, like hats off to you guys. Like that was crazy. So
I did one of the fondos. Like that was like now I can't remember. I haven't ridden the last couple of years because I'm worried my cat will walk into the wheels.
Like,
Since I adopted him, yeah, I know. It just
that's a good enough excuse to get a direct drive.
Yeah, I know. I've tried to make that justification since then. But yeah, anyways, I did like I think I did like a 50 or 75, and I was like, this is
It's
horrible.
so long.
I can't imagine 24 hours.
yeah, like
And I even do it with the dual monitor setup here. So I have Zwift, which, can be entertaining for a while. And then put on like documentaries back when GCN still had GCN Plus. So I could like have like 2 things going, but still like an hour. I found an hour was my absolute cutoff.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, like I'm gonna need like a 6-pack and some cigarettes. Like,
So before that, they actually did 2 centuries. They made it through the entire Fast and Furious franchise. I'm sure he wants the no Hobbs and Shaw. That was not included in that one, but yeah. But I was like, it was so funny. We're like, you guys picked those movies. Like that's what you guys. But yeah, it's
like, how can we make this more miserable?
yeah.
sorry, Kenny. That was not. But yeah,
That was supposed to be inside information.
It was. But yeah, there was like I said, the Camp T trails. That was there. That's they man a lot of they're on the board up there, so they man a lot of the upgrades to the trails and stuff. But they'll be there with a table, just kind of keeping you informed of what's going on with the trails and what the future holds and getting you to come out to the Rain of Pain, so you can have some glizzy, pocket glizzy.
Yeah. I do like that idea of making it more, like a bike
It's a
festival,
fun
almost a bike
thing,
festival
yeah,
instead
yeah.
of just a bike swap.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind
Because
of.
bike swap like indicates like, my collection of used handlebars that nobody wants.
You just
They're-
have a box of that stuff. I don't
Yeah.
want
Bring me
everybody-
5 tandem frames. Like.
or even old Schwinn parts, and I mean,
Yeah,
that has its place, but it's like I don't know. I feel like we're all into like old '90s mountain bikes and old road bikes and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's just I mean,
Yeah.
trying to have that where we can all keep building our habits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that's and for me, like just coming from the bike shop swap meet that we would have, it was like Christmas every year, where it's like, what cool thing is going to show up here? Like you had no idea what would come across the bench, where it could be like a seat that you needed, or a set of wheels it's the final puzzle piece of what you were doing, or it could be the first part of a new build that you were gonna like. I didn't think I was gonna build this, but I got a set of wheels now, so I'll start this old mountain bike and stuff.
Yeah, the first time that at the old shop, Dirty River did something like that, and it was kind of small, but there was a 9-speed drop bar Shimano group set sitting there, and I'm like, I'm going to buy this, and this is going to go on something.
Start
like, I'm
something
going
here,
to
yep.
build something, and that's why I think it's probably that. No, it's not that Trek. Can't remember. Oh, it might be the Marin. That might be the 9-speed group set that went on there, but it was something like that, where I'm like, I'm going to create something out of because I was able to get this for $25.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, now I got to spend $2,000.
Yeah, now I
got a good deal on
I
this.
got a setback
Yeah.
Thompson seat post.
I'm sure you have something in this all these shelves here of like this is going to go on something here in the future.
Yeah.
Like, it's got its place.
It's funny. I just did a bike on a video on every bike that I have that's rideable, because everyone just keeps asking for it, even though I keep making one on each bike. I'm like, fine, I'm just gonna do it. Then I could point. People ask me, I'm like, it's right here. Here's the video.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was doing that yellow Roger Riviera, which is a really cheap like gas pipe old French bike, you know what I mean? Like it's just nothing special about it, but it's got a 3T stem and Chinelli bars, and my joke, like, these are worth more than the rest of this build combined by far.
Yep.
Yeah. Who are a couple of the other? I did want a couple of the other vendors that you guys have, because they were saying like having people who are doing like events with a table and like so like the kind of organization thing set up, but that I think this is the other really cool thing is that there's people there with bike stuff to buy, like a cap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Clothing, like stuff like that, like like you do with the fenders and stuff. So I know there was a couple more we didn't bring up yet.
Mike, I will have your fenders there too for sale.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Who did we miss? We did say
Yeah,
Dirty
Dirty
River.
River.
Yeah. Which Otis will probably have a collection of stuff that you actually kind of want, unlike, like I said, some of my box of handlebars. Oh, yeah, Micah. Is Micah doing shirts and stuff, or?
No, we just I felt like just wanted to thank him for
Gotcha.
kind of getting it. I mean his
He
immense
did all
talent
the
with everything.
artwork,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was awesome.
Oh, here's Nobby side down. Yeah. Yeah, roach clips. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Plus, you could also just come in and nerd out about bikes and drink beer.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's like
to drink beer.
that's,
Yeah,
that's gonna
'cause
have
it's-
fun. Like,
Because it's a brewery, so
Right.
we also got that going for us as well. Oh, there's Micah again.
yeah.
You want to make sure our connection's strong. Yeah, everything's going good here. Yeah. What's your daily driver now? Is it still your All City?
No, I have that taken apart right now. I beat it up so bad last year, and then I was just like kind of burned out on just working on it. I did get like a new group set for it, so it's like it'll be like a legit mullet setup. Like I took a GRX derailleur, and then I put a like the arm for XT on it. So it's like a longer, so you can run a bigger, like a 52 on it, rather than just the 46 GRX.
Oh, it's like the cage, you mean?
So the
Yeah,
cage
yeah.
for XT, so you can run a bigger cassette. And then it's all hydraulic, so I'm gonna upgrade that because I had the SRAM mechanical that will have the Apex 11-speed on it. So once I get it back together, but my daily rider right now has been that my Karate Monkey.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I got like the 2.5s on that, and then I like painted it all up, and so now it's a monkey business because that's what I'm always doing on it.
I think you have on your Instagram. You have pictures of it, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Pull that guy up. Or
Look
what?
that up.
Do you know Andy Sherman? He got his Karate Monkey stolen. and then he found it. Like
Yeah, I
they
saw
caught
that they
the guy.
found it. That's sweet.
They actually caught the guy in action. Ben, the two Bens at the bike shop.
Caught him.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh.
I'm following you on my other account.
Oh.
Look at that picture, though.
Oh, it's not on the, there we go.
Yeah, dude. Who is that
Oh, it
dude?
doesn't let you double click on that. I don't know.
Party. That's the kind of activity you can expect at
Yeah.
Roundup. That's the kind of vibe I'm bringing to the table. You know?
That's what I was saying because I was talking to Aaron. I'm like, should I just go half on the table with someone? We got till Friday, and then I thought I might have a photo gig. Then got canceled. So I'm like, Then I'm like, I also just kind of want to roam around and hang out and talk to everyone and not man
right.
a table.
That's kind of what our big thing was. We didn't want to get stuck with like having to like, you know, kind of officiate everything. You know, we're trying to stay loose and like, well, you know, like at the bike shop, we've always had it where everything's been rung through a central register. It's like we'll just let these guys
And like
run their own
commission
tables and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't want to do that. So.
Just sell a table and then
Yep,
you
we're done.
sell for what you want, or you know.
Yeah. I think that's the way to do it because you pay like the fee to have the table and then
You're done. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
then
handle
you're
all the transactions yourself. You can, you know, if you need to.
Ass, grass, or gas, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Whatever you want to like negotiate, it's up to you at that point. So.
Yeah.
So we kind of kept us out of it. I'll still have, of course, I have loads of stuff. It's like I've just accumulated that we'll probably have a table with that stuff. But I think having where we did have the option of renting a table when you and your buddy you can pair up on that thing. And, it makes it nice and cheap and everything too.
Right.
So.
And the other thing I know people do, like what they got some of the bike events I've gone to, like Nutmeg and stuff, they set up a table, but everyone's riding all day and stuff, so they put the Venmo thing on the table too.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
in general, like at an event like that where everyone's paid to be there, that works because there's a pretty good trust factor going on. And I feel like that would be like that something like this too, because there's going to be a lot of people who know each other.
Right.
So it's not, and plus, who steals random bike parts?
Yeah, you got to be a real scumbag. You know.
This 1992 LX trailer.
Yeah.
This is what I need. What did Don say? Best bike parts going is saddle, handlebars, tires, pedals, and winter. This winter is, it's killing me now. It was
the second
in January, like when we rode the Yeti ride together and stuff. At first, I was having fun.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah.
And now I'm just like, then we got all the ice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then like the other day we had all the rain, then it turned to snow, then we had snow that turned to rain. Well, it's reverse of that, but
Yeah.
it's just like February is just the up and down makes it worse. It's like just give me like when it was just snow, I could grab my studded tire bike,
Right.
go ride. And,
Right. If it just stayed 20 and was, snowy, I'd be fine with that. But yeah, like when it's melting, like I don't want to go out and get wet and cold.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the worst.
Yeah. One or the other's fine.
Hey, Margaret.
Oh, hey, what's up? Florins, Ducats, in pieces of 8. I feel like that is probably a funny nerdy joke that is way over my head.
I'd love to know the backstory.
Is that from The Mandalorian?
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Do you guys want another beer?
We get left on camera by ourselves here?
Yeah, you have to say something.
All right. Yeah, we
Oh,
can,
boy.
Yeah.
Nick gets to talk. That
Yeah.
should be good. All right.
Like,
Margaret, what's the
Talk
explanation
about
on
pieces
the...
of 8.
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
the
let's-
explanation on this
Let's talk about pieces of 8. What does that mean? Pences?
Is that what your S is going to be?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Nick.
Yeah.
Is this your first time being on a YouTube stream?
Yeah.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
I feel like I made it. I haven't even had the event yet, and it's like, look at us. Who would have thought?
I wouldn't go that far.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a couple of guys.
Oh, that-
love bikes.
That is one thing I was curious. I know we talked a little right before we went on because I was curious about this, about how do you guys feel? Oh, wait.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
These are all antiquated currencies. Try and keep that to a minimum on Saturday. We're just kidding. Yeah, I was curious about so I've had people on who organize like bike events and stuff before, and I've just done, I do one every year where it's just like I've started now where it's just like a meetup in a chill ride. Like we're gonna go somewhere, we're gonna have some beers and food and go back, maybe hit a little gravel if it looks like this. Crowd is into it and it's a no drop. And I'm fine with that.
Okay.
But like the one year I tried to do something a little bigger and I just worried the entire time. And so I was talking to a friend from Florida in Tampa who does like big events, like multi-day. And I'm like, I'm just so impressed. Like, doesn't it make you worry? And he's like, well, I do logistics for a living. And so this is fun logistics. And I'm like, fun logistics. Those are two words that don't go together.
Usually, yeah.
So I'm curious, like, so doing this for the first time, how have you guys felt about being like the organizers and having to pull things together?
It's been real cool. Like everybody has been like super into it, which has made it way easier. Like we got a ton of support from like pretty much everyone. It's just like, and everything's fallen into place. And like, I mean, kind of the mindset going into it was like, you know, one day we want it to be huge, you know, but it's like kind of like, you know, finding the limits of like this year is like, we've never done anything like this. Like, I don't really know that a lot of people have done anything in the country like this. Like where it's like a swap meet and a meetup and a hangout. And it's just like, you know, just celebrating bikes, you know, and it's like, so going into, I mean, it's all kind of fallen right into place, you know, it's just like, you talk to one person like, oh, you should go, you know, like, we met with Ryan, he's like, you should talk to Micah to do the artwork, and then it's just like, Micah just pulls what was in my brain, and his brain, like, it's like, this dude literally killed it, like, so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of going into it, but I think that, like, it hasn't been too bad, like, I would definitely do it again as far as like where we're at right now. I mean,
yeah, I think the biggest thing is just, especially with everybody traveling here. What's that?
I think you have someone trying to join you.
Oh, hey, buddy. What's up?
Don't block him out, dude.
You come up. There we go.
Oh.
Is he going to go right across or is he going to settle down?
It's the leg bridge.
Look at that.
Yeah, you got him, dude.
Where's I going to that one?
Sorry.
Oh, so we have all the vendors and stuff, and it's just like I for me, it's like I worry about just making it worthwhile for them to come. Like you know, I appreciate so much the fact that they've been so supportive about coming to the event and stuff like that. So I hope that the draw for them is worth it. Where it's like, oh yeah, that was totally cool. I'm doing that again next year. So yeah, I think that's the only, you know, it's the unknown of like how many people are going to show up.
Yeah,
there's no registration for like showing up there and stuff like that. So you're just kind of like, well,
yeah, and for people to commit, like, we don't even know what we're doing. Like, it's just like, and people to be on board, it's like, right on.
I know.
You know? Like, we're still confused about exactly what this is going to be. But no, I mean, I think it'll be awesome.
Edmund has entered the chat.
Edmund.
I saw him. He was walking on that table when you were talking, Nick, and he started to circle, and he's like, I need to get myself involved somehow.
He's like,
he needs to be on
you guys have
camera
not
every
invited
time.
me once. You guys have not asked me one question.
So if you had a second cat, it would be Fitzgerald.
No, so he is Edmund Fitzgerald.
Okay, full name.
Yeah.
Full name. Got it.
That's his government. Don't say it on the channel.
Well, so Otis's wife Kelly is the one who, she's a veterinarian, if you don't know. She took him to get fixed and get his shots initially after I brought him in from the alley. And so she had on the paper thing like Edmund Fitzwater, and I was like, Edmund Fitzgerald Fitzwater.
Yeah.
So like, get it right.
Yeah, double fits.
Ed Fitz.
He just went to the vet for his year yesterday, and they had put Edmund Fitzgerald, but I didn't correct him. But my girlfriend has like taken in a stray in her basement just to get fixed and nurse it to help see if it could be adopted and stuff. But it's this white cat, and she was like trying to think of a name, so I've named it Holy Moses, which is Great Lakes White Bear.
Exactly.
And so she took it to the vet, and they, same vet that he went to, same day, and they're like, why? And then she explained the story, and she said the people at the counter were laughing their asses off.
It was fake.
Holy Moses.
Yeah, holy Moses.
You gotta get on my legs a little bit better, there, bud.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's branching that kickstand out, dude.
The only person that doesn't have a cat here, right?
Yeah.
Are you? You are?
I don't have a cat, no.
Ah. And of course,
I
that's
do,
it.
no, right?
You could.
I had tried not to. Like, I went 3 years with no pets, and then this guy, it was December and it started to get cold.
Like,
And I know he's out there. I was like, I walked out and he followed me right in.
Like, we're friends now, dude.
I'm not bragging about having a girlfriend.
That was
They
too
got
funny.
right. Oh, look. He
Oh,
bracing,
yeah,
dude.
he's
Yeah.
like,
He's working on it here.
he's like, let's get a little bit of that too.
Yeah,
He's a big dude, huh?
Yeah.
We were all guessing.
Unit.
anyone who was guessing last week, because I said I was taking him to the vet, we had a number of guesses. He turned out to be 13.1. I had guessed 15 pounds, but he's 13.1 pounds. The vet guessed. It's funny because it became like a gambling thing. Even at the vet, the assistant's about to put it on the scale. I'm like, 15. She's like, 14.
Edmund was cutting before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to beef him up last week.
Yeah, just like,
Put little
yeah.
lead pellets in his food.
Have some beer, Edmund. Swole up.
So I was going to ask you. So you were riding your fat bike when we rode at the Yeti ride,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ridden through the winter for a while?
Yeah, I mean, I would even ride my other bikes. Like, I rode my
really?
Girl Monsoon through the winter all the time. But it's just like my fat bike's like one of those bikes. Like, I love fat bikes and like they're so goofy, but it's like it's one bike that I really don't care about getting the salt on. Like, I just don't want to get it on like my Surly or my my Girl Monsoon. I just don't want those like getting destroyed. Like, once it starts getting real salty out, like I don't really want to, destroy those bikes. Like, it just eats through so fast.
Yeah.
It's like that bike I don't care that much about. I'll just let it
That's
throw
why.
some oil on the chain and
So I ride my old Trek and it's aluminum, which also kind of helps.
yeah.
But it's funny, for years, like I know so many bike mechanics and bike nerds that are like, don't use WD-40 on your bike. And that's what I've done for like 8 years is like I get back from a ride, I hose it off, and then I just like WD-40 the shit out of it. But that's, again,
It's perfect for that.
I'm not going to do that to my gunner or my rally.
Right.
I do ride them in the winter and I do ride them in the salt and I do clean them off really well, but I
Right.
don't, I'm actually more intense about making sure they're cleaned off that day and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can kind of just throw that one in the garage if it's when.
I'm also lucky because there's a floor drain in the back corner there by the bathroom,
That's
so
perfect.
my bikes aren't staying outside with the stuff on it, or I'm able to wash them down here, and
That's
they're
awesome.
in the heat, which helps. But
Yeah, absolutely.
do you ride through the winter?
I do. I'm like 2 miles away from where I live to where I work at, so it's.
Oh, you
I
can
try not to drive if I don't have to. It's necessary to have a car, but it's nice not having to worry about it. Is he gonna make the jump?
He looks like it.
Oh, he's going.
Oh, that was a much more
So
sensible.
melodramatic.
Yeah, I know.
I'm still giving 5 stars.
So I've been bad this
10 out of
year.
10.
I've sucked. Like, I've kind of had a head cold for like the last week or so, and then we had stuff going on where I'd have to be somewhere after work. Like, so but I really try to do it. And like I said, I'm down in North Canton, so you have so many back roads and neighborhoods and stuff you can cut through, so it's safe and peaceful and stuff, and it makes it pretty easy to do that. So I'm lucky I don't have a 20-mile bike ride to get to work. So.
Yeah, I didn't do it at first, and then we were going to ride down to that campground on the towpath that's a little bit outside of Massillon, River's Edge. Have you guys ever gone there? It's right off the trail, and it's got that cool overlook on the river.
Yeah.
In the summer, you can actually even go down into the river and
I know
kind
that
of
one.
soak. Oh yeah, and you have to be coming off the trail. You're not allowed to park there and camp.
Okay.
So, yeah, River's Edge. There's 2 names for it. One is River's Edge, and it lists different ways, but it's about 3 miles outside of Massillon.
Yeah.
So
yeah, probably about.
it's by that 2 Goldens, if you've ever noticed it. That tavern.
Yeah.
That's
I know that, but
it's not too far. It's past there a little ways.
Okay. How do you know about that?
I don't know.
That's weird.
And you can have fires there because there's one more towards like Clinton Canal Fulton, but you're not allowed to have fires. So it's like
You don't venture off the towpath though. You're like, no, dude, that's breaking the rules, man.
Madison's too far from North Canton.
Yeah.
Where was I going with this? Oh, we were going to do a winter camp out, and we were going to try and like make the night. And I went out on my truck, and I didn't have studded tires yet, and it was slick, and I couldn't keep the bike upright. And I was just like, it was early in the winter, so it wasn't super cold, but it had snowed. And I was like, oh, winter riding, I don't know how to do it. It's not for me. And then Otis convinced me to buy the 45 North Gravdels, and I put it on that bike, and I'm like, oh, this is a game changer. And then the year I had that on, we're riding on like that old ice rink down by Big Bend area, and I'm like, I could balance like anything on this, depending on the snow. This year we've had a lot of that snow that gets compressed and it's cold, and snow slides on snow, and that's hard for anything. But and then I learned the clothing strategy with like the layers of wool and the windbreaker and
like wool socks and bar mitts like were the ultimate game changer for me, because like you go out for a little bit and your fingers and toes get cold. It's like That's not fun.
No, it's the
If
worst.
you got like a nice pair of gloves, some bar mitts, and some good wool socks, like that's the layers so you don't get all sweaty. You know.
Yeah,
like,
just trying to. Yeah, that's always my thing is zippers to keep from getting sweaty because we go places.
right.
It's like on a group ride, we go out to the bar, have a couple drinks, have a burger, and ride home. You do not want to show up there sweaty because then going back out is
yeah, you're right.
the worst thing in the world. But
You are like a heater though too.
Oh yeah, I could.
He always sweats.
Yeah, I could just wear like a windbreaker in 20 degrees most of the time.
Yeah.
As long as my
I'm usually
feet,
freezing and you're like
Yeah.
shedding layers and
Yeah.
stuff.
Like I'm about to have a stroke, dude. I'm so hot.
I gotta take this off.
Yeah, there
Are
was
you
like
serious?
yeah, when we came back from the Yeti ride that day, we're like coming up the Freedom Trail, and it's like thick snow, so like you're really having to push to get through it. And
yeah,
I was like, dude, I gotta stop. I gotta unzip my jacket. I gotta take my hat, and my gloves off. Like I'm about to have a stroke, dude. Like I'm dying.
yeah, we rode the Freedom Trail out to Kent when it had been like the snow had been on the ground for a while and it got compressed and it was all bumpy and it was just so much work.
Yeah.
And even though it was kind of cold, like a few miles in, I was like, I've never been so hot in my entire life. You know,
Yeah.
it was just like you're working so hard.
Yeah, like
for
I'm
it, you know?
about to die.
Yeah. We always say like those Yeti rides were like, that was what we did. What did we do, like 12, 13 miles that day?
Mhm.
We're like, you double that. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's like the
Oh,
effort
for
of
sure.
a 26-mile
Yeah.
ride.
Yep.
Man, this guy, man, I hate being cold.
Yeah. Totally
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
also-
anyone loves it.
I also used to go with the mentality, which I still have to a degree, of I go out and I like hate the first mile or mile and a half. Like I'm cold. Like there's like, well, I'm not cold off the bat. Like I get ready, you know, so you have that heat build up, but there's that gap between when the heat from inside wears off and you haven't moved enough yet to build up the heat and the wind's hitting you. And there's like this 5-minute period, maybe something in there where I'm just like miserable.
Yeah, what's wrong with me?
You
Why
know,
do I
like-
like this?
And then like before you even know it, you forget about it and you're fine. But I always used to do that, like no matter what. I'm like, I know part of this is gonna suck. But now sometimes I will just throw on the down jacket and know 15 minutes into the ride I'm gonna stop and pull it off and stuff it in my bag. I'm like, you don't have to do this depending on how you're riding.
Right.
Like, if I'm gonna ride a little bit harder, then I don't. I'm just like, deal with that period that really sucks. You know what I mean? And push through it. But sometimes now I'm like, throw on the really warm stuff and take it off. You know?
Yeah. I will absolutely be. I'll gladly sweat to not be freezing at the beginning of it there.
Yeah, like you live in Goodyear Heights, so it's like when I leave the house,
It's all
the like
downhill, right?
2 miles, like no matter which way I go, really, I'm not pedaling at all. Like it's just
So you've
coasting,
gotta be,
so like
yeah.
I'll be freezing, and then get to the bottom of the hill 5 miles in, I'm like, all right, now I'm medium rare.
What is Don drinking? It's coffee, vodka, no time? Chino.
Spicy cap it more. Yeah.
I cannot do. I'm like my coffee cutoff is early. I can't do caffeine after. Man, I don't even do it after early morning. Like,
I
not
haven't
really,
reached
I
that
don't
in my
think
life. Like I could probably do street drugs and go to bed. in
Oh,
5
really?
minutes. Yeah, like I'm like a tired dude. Like as soon as I sit down, it's over. Like me and Coco try to watch a movie, and it's like we started watching. What was that the other night? And I mean, I literally watched like maybe 3 minutes of it and fell asleep.
Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, it was Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Well,
Started
that's
watching the
'cause-
first one.
That's just because
It's just because it was Lord of the Rings. It had nothing to do with you being a tired guy. It's just you're watching a boring as shit movie, dude. Dark. Like,
Oh my God, you're mad about
61
61. We're dreaming. 61 would be shorts and t-shirts right now. That's
oh
what we
yeah,
would.
shirtless, dude.
Yeah. It's so we talk about this all the time. Anyone in Ohio does, but like on the channel and bike stuff, it's so funny. Like I always talk about just how crazy and quick you get acclimated. 61 in the fall, and I'm like, I need a wool long sleeve. I need my windbreaker. I'm like 61 in the fall. I'm like you go out like that's cold. 61 right now would be like shorts,
Yeah,
t-shirt
For sure.
Yeah.
Like I'd probably throw a windbreaker on, but I'd probably take it off halfway through
Yeah.
Shoot, 41 would be like that right now.
Yeah, I'm getting
Yeah.
sunburned. I'm not wearing a
Yeah.
jacket. I'm getting sunburned. It's happening.
Oh, in
Oh, yeah.
Grand Rapids. Yeah.
Yeah,
20
that's,
It's weird this
she's
year.
sprechen her Deutsch. You
Yeah.
know? Like,
I felt like it's weird. I went out on that first snowy day we had. I think it was before Christmas in December, and it was like 22, and I was like expecting it to be brutal, and I was fine, and I'm like, I guess I've just gotten used to what I need to wear, and then like all through January, fine, and then like the other day, like last week when I went out, I'm like, I don't know if it's just because I'm over it, but I felt like a little cold the whole, and it was like 25, 26, it wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad, and I'm like, I think it's just a sign of being over winter. I'm like,
Yeah, I think it's like, yeah, like you're mentally, it's broke you down mentally. Now it's like,
I tried to watch the 1919 Nosferatu. I've never.
The black and white one.
Oh, 1922. Yes,
Yeah.
Everyone's seen those clips.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I was
that's a
every
Great
year-
Lakes beer too, right?
With
The
the-
what?
Nosferatu's a Great Lakes beer too, right?
Oh yeah, they're
Halloween
double red, yeah.
Huh.
Now you gotta get a third
Another
cat.
can. Well,
Reel them in, dude.
One of the great ones is so. Aaron, like when I saw it, I had another stray hanging around.
Your girlfriend, right?
Yeah, my girlfriend. Yeah. Yeah, suck on that, Mike.
Yeah, sucker.
He's married. That's why he's jealous.
Yeah, he can't. His wife said he can't have a
Yeah.
girlfriend.
But anyways, I started to talk about the cat, and then Aaron's like, "Well, it's straight." I'm like, "Did you adopt it?" She's like, "Yeah, I named it Commodore Purry."
Oh,
we're just-
love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Some real nerdy Great Lakes beer stuff, if you guys don't.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
That's a good name.
20 in Philly. Yeah, you guys. 20 sounds good, right? We got like 20. Like this dip in February is pretty unusual because we had what was that in mid-January when we got those teens, but now like to have it go back into
Yeah,
the teens in
right.
like late February.
There was like a couple days I felt like in January it was like -15 in the morning.
Yeah. It drives me crazy here because this is a big ass. Well, it's 2 buildings,
Mhm.
and so like I also, people pay rent and it's supposed to be included, but
Uh-huh.
when you get a winter this cold, like there's only because these would have been storefronts, so there's only one thermostat. So I would keep it colder, but I can't do that to my tenants, so I got to keep it at 68
Right.
for those guys. So I'd turn it down and like throw extra layers on.
Yeah,
I can't
that-
do that when I'm like heating it for other people.
No bad thing. Just put a sweatshirt on. or
Yeah,
something, right?
yeah, like
Eat some of the tools, dude.
Yeah.
I'm down here wrenching on a bike.
yeah.
I'm on Zwift right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like when the temperature drops, I'm not just like, oh, it's cold outside. I'm like, I just picture money like flying out the door.
Yeah, just like cold. Like me and Edmund are sweating down here.
Where I used to have my office, I'll show you guys on the way out, but there's like a 10-foot radiator. And I was like working right next to that. So I'm like in boxers and a t-shirt when I'm editing photos and videos. And I'm like, this is so dumb. But I'm like, there's nothing I could do. It's like, however tall those old tin ceilings are and
Right.
apartments upstairs. Anyways, I cut you off. Do you remember even the point you were going to make?
Boy, was it? So every year, like every winter, you get your clothing nailed down. Where it's like by the end of it, you come out of that where you're like, okay, I need this jacket, this layer, this base layer. Every year I go into like you're just brain dead again. Where it's like, what did I wear last year? And those first couple rides, I'm always like, I still like carry extra gloves with me. Like you might be going to the Rocky Mountains where you might need extra gloves.
Yeah.
Joking. That was a Dumb and Dumber joke.
Yeah.
But just in case where it's like if I start like if I'm colder than I thought I was gonna be, I always have extra stuff with me. But I can never remember like what I did the previous year. Where you're just
We talk about that too.
struggling.
It's like you're an idiot all
Yeah,
over.
like what?
Yeah.
But I should write that
I've
down.
never
but
done
I
this.
never do.
So a couple people, I made like my version of a winter clothing video, and a couple people said they do write it down. But I did realize then what I had just said about getting acclimated, it's almost worthless because you're going to dress completely different at 30 in January than you would at 30 in November.
That's true.
Right.
And we also sometimes get 30 in April. And so it's just like, it changes with the season when you have seasons that wildly vary.
Right,
And
right,
also ours, this is like the most consistently most consistently cold winter we've had in, I don't know, a decade.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, it's Andy. Hey, Andy.
This has got to be the best fat biking winter we've ever had, right?
Yeah, it was legit.
And with snow's back on the ground now. So,
Yeah. You want to get back on fat bikes? It's the time.
Yeah. So that Andy's our trek rep for our
Oh,
store.
nice.
So he's like the whole East Coast. That's awesome that he checked in. That's cool.
They call him East Coast Andy.
East Coast Andy. We are now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have do I have 4 trucks? I have one. My winter bike is the only bike I've ever bought new. And then I had the 07 Trek 1500. But I bought that pretty much for the components, and I instantly took them off, and I put them on the 1982, that
I love the old
American-made
one, yeah.
truck.
Yep.
And that bike was like my daily driver for a long time before I finally realized and I was doing tours on it and everything.
Yeah,
but it's a 500, not a 520, which was their touring bike.
Yep.
And I kept loading it down, and the front end was just so squirrely. It doesn't have the longer chain stays and anything. And I finally had to give it up. I'm like, this not to ride, but to like tour on it. I'm like, it's not practical. I just love the way this bike looks, and it's like got the old vintage like.
The
truck
headliners
are
are
sweet.
the best on those things. The brass little front on that one. Yeah, I've got an 86 310. So it's same thing, bigger travel for bigger tires and stuff like that. But yeah, I have a soft spot for the old trucks and stuff. So
yeah. I don't. What's my newest? Is my 01? No, the 07 would be, but that's my trainer bike now. That's a harsh ride. That's like the oversized aluminum with it only fits 28s. I was riding that like when I still used to like try and ride road like a little more specifically and get some like hill climb times. I loved it because it's so stiff, and that's a bike that like really is better than its entry level status. I just think it's a nicer bike. The wheels were nicer than like you would expect out of a bike like that. But after a while, I'm like, this thing's just beating me up. And then I broke the seat post because I was riding it off road on 28. Yeah.
Sick.
Found a new one online and everything. But yeah.
Oh, so that's not the original one right there.
No, it had a carbon one. Now I think it has an alloy one.
Okay.
But yeah, that was it was fun to ride, but I was just ended up doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing on it. And it's also the triple arrow, which I like. And I actually put a triple back on it, so that's got an Ultegra group set on it, but the original group set is the 105 on the vintage truck. Yeah.
So was there a point in time when you were wearing like Lycra?
No,
like, as
never.
a biker? Okay.
I've never cause I've never owned any like kit. I've never. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Because I rode, like I said, my vintage mount, like vintage now, but my own one Trek all the way up until 2015. It was like just my bike. I bought it new in 2001. Rode it all the way up until 2015, and then I started riding with more people, and then I was like, man, when we were just like bombing out like down Riverview, like doing like 25-mile round trip, I just feel like I'm working so much harder than everyone else, and I didn't even really know why. And then my dad gave me his old Motobacon, just an old French 10-speed. It's not even like a nice one. And then when I got on that, I was like, oh, this is why. Like the geometry and the aerodynamics and all that stuff. And I was just like, this is so much faster to just like ride road on. And that's I bought the Peugeot and the Viscount.
Yeah.
But when I was riding those, I didn't even wear shorts. Like I just
like Battle Duck. No.
Yeah, oh yeah, just
Winnie the
naked.
Pooh.
Yeah.
That's a t-shirt, dude.
If they're gonna see everything like through like anyway, why wear anything at all?
Yeah. Less to chafe on, dude. There's no material, you can't get chafed on it.
No, yeah, I'd been working on the farm for like a decade, and like my default in the summer was in like also I played in bands, so I was like one of those people you go out in jeans and all this stuff. So jeans and Vans. And,
no kidding.
Yeah, when I was like getting really back into riding, and I was still just riding the mountain bike, I'd be riding through the valley sometimes, and there'd be some roadie, and I'd come up on him, and I'd be like, and I like saw on GCN that you're supposed to announce yourself, you just don't wheel suck, like all this like roadie etiquette that I was following online, even though I knew nothing about anything. I'm learning it all from GCN, so I'm pulling up behind some guy on a 2001 truck mountain bike with front suspension in jeans and a button-down like plaid shirt. And I'd be like, hey, just gonna sit on your wheel for a minute. And they'd be like, all right. And then I'd like not thinking of it. Then I'd be like, oh, this is going too slow. And I'd come around him, and the looks on these people's faces.
Double take. Like, what? Like, who's this dude?
A one mountain bike, jeans.
Yeah.
I didn't wear helmets back then, so I had a baseball cap on.
Yeah.
Stuff for cruise, right?
Yeah.
I love that. Like,
Yeah, it's funny. So I never did. So obviously I do wear shorts now, and I bought more bike specific brands just because they don't wear out, but they're still like the more like Chrome Industry style stuff or Swerve. So yeah, I've never owned like the actual like true.
We've been talking about
shorts.
collaborations. It's time for the Fitzwater Steadfast kit for you.
Yeah,
It's time to open a new can here.
There's been a couple times where a couple brands have reached out. I'm like, yeah, I just don't really.
It's not really my cup of tea, I don't have a butt for it.
Yeah.
So when I was racing, like, God, it was been like probably 20 years ago. So one, like the main guy that I was always going against, Dave Walker, he's actually from Cleveland. he would race in jean shorts or
That's
jeans
sick.
all the time. So his idea was that, like, because he's out training in the woods and stuff like that, he would go through briars and they tear up his lycra. So these were cheaper to replace Levi's than actual bike shorts. So he'd just show up and like everybody would like underestimate like who's this dude in the bike shorts, and he would just
rip.
kill everybody.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So it was. I mean, he raced. He was awesome. He was a really fast guy, but you know, it's just funny where he'd show up
love
and
that.
he'd have like a team
Yeah.
jersey on, but bike shorts or jean shorts, like some Levi's and stuff. So
Yeah, I do have a couple like I have Dirty Rivers jersey, but they made those more like mountain style, like old
Gotcha.
school.
a little loose.
Yeah, so it's not the not the super tight stuff.
Yeah, showing off all your muscles. You know? About to flex and bust out, dude.
Only his girlfriend gets to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I mean, also, I don't think I'm going fast enough that aero matters. I totally get why like kit and like the chafing thing for some people is an issue. But even when I started riding too, like when I'm wearing my jeans, I was wearing like just baggy cotton boxers underneath them. Like,
Yeah, it's like I'm just dangling, dude.
yeah.
Just living.
Now, one thing that for like hot summer days, I've switched to like the wool boxers, and those are so
Game
awesome.
changer.
Like, yeah, wool boxers, man. I rode up. Actually, it was Frank had he had an event called Lugs Not Drugs. Meet Me in Manchester, where they did a ride up to a ride at the farm. You rode from Ann Arbor out to the farm, camped, and then they had a great gravel ride, and then a bonfire that night, and then camp again, and then ride back to Ann Arbor. I was looking at my schedule, and I'm like, the Thursday and Friday that I was supposed to, was starting on Friday. I'm like, I don't have anything on my calendar. And so I decided Thursday, I'm like, I'm going to ride there. I'm going to ride
Oh,
to Ann
shoot.
Arbor. So I'll spend 2 days. So I did double centuries. But that was the first time when I've owned like all the wool boxers and stuff when I rode up there. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, like this is.
Yeah, this is
Thank
living.
you. This
Yeah.
is awesome. Yeah.
When we first started riding together, like it was definitely like it was a mix because Nick's coming from like just wearing
Yeah.
kind of just shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm showing up. I have like bib shorts on, and it's like, oh,
So you might have to stop at the bar, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, you're gonna look goofy in there.
Yeah.
Even like we've had a lot of rides that we've had, just it's just a mix of like
Yeah.
we're kind of just
Yeah. Yeah. You know, like mountain biking, like a lot of times, like you're always clipped in,
yeah, yep.
trying to sway me to it. But I just.
Working
Yeah,
on
I'm all flat pedals. People
Yeah.
blows their mind.
Yeah, me
You know, like
too.
a-
Because
like a
it's-
six-
still on there.
I
I'm like a
commute too much.
6,500 mile a year rider that only flat
Flat.
pedals.
Yeah, I commute too much to where it's like I don't want to have another pair of shoes with me. I get the idea.
Do you guys know Steve? Nah, got passed on an uphill by a dude in jean shorts on a single speed and
Definitely could have
mountain
been Dave
bike race.
Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hurts your ego. It's like, damn, dude.
This
come on.
is shedding. It's like all over my face now.
So-
There's not a Rivendell in my future. Like, I think they're cool. I think the cool thing about Rivendells is like they have the classic tube profile because I obviously love
Yeah.
vintage road bikes, but then you have the tire clearance. But I also feel like I know how to like mess with bikes enough to do that for like way less money than a Rivendell would
They're
cost me.
yeah,
So
a lot of money.
I love their bikes, and I love the stuff Grant did with Bridgestone and all those classic bikes. Had a Bridgestone here that was too small for me. Ben has actually stripped it down. It's beautiful, and he realized it clears like over 2-inch tires.
Oh,
so
yeah.
but the geometry and the tubes look so awesome. So it's going to be a really cool build he's working on next. But yeah, riding in
I'm the
jeans,
anomaly here
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
bike shorts.
It's funny because my group, like when we started, like I said, I rode with my buddy Wes, and then Woody like hit me up, and we were riding on Wednesdays because Wes still had kids that he had to drive around, and that was his free day, and still do it. But like when like the original group, it would be like Wes was riding a cheap U08 Peugeot, like total piece of shit. Like that, no offense, some people build up Uos. They ride great, but they're like cheap French bikes. They're like that Riviera over there. And then Shermack was riding his fat bike. Ben back then was only fixie, like flat bar fixie, not track bike, like true, like fixie, like a fixie. I just had my vintage mountain bike, and then we had one guy who had like a carbon bike with drop bars, and then there was Woody, and I think he was riding single on like a steel class. So it was just like this whole mix. And so I never like fell in, like I didn't like know about the clickiness or the like segregation of bike crews and how some people were like didn't like each other, because when I got into riding with people, it was like a total spread, and it just
like we're all
didn't
on
matter.
bikes.
It was like, oh, we all want to ride bikes and drink beer, like, and we would ride really fast, but it didn't. There was no
Right.
like we didn't know what pace lining was or any of that. It was just, and then on the way back after a few beers, it would turn into a race, and we wouldn't even like regroup. It would just be like if someone felt like going off, everyone would chase him. If you couldn't keep up, that dude would get home first.
See you next week, dude.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, just that's where I came through it. So was there never any, so I've never had any like weird things about someone wearing kit. Like, and I also love pro racing. Like, I'm an absolute fanatic of road racing.
Right.
Not like, and I like cyclocross too, but like I actually love road racing. I love the spring classics and all that stuff. So it's like I know what the bike. I'm up on the bike tech, and I'm up on like I know all the riders' names. I love women's cycling. I know all the stuff. So it's like funny to people who it's like I am a guy who would ride in jeans and a plaid T-shirt, but I'm like a total nerd about like the tour.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I guess I tailor my kit to who I'm riding with most of the times. I mean, Nick and I have ridden enough that I'm not just showing
your sexy ones.
Oh, Nick's gonna be there?
Yeah.
I guess a little shorter, a little tighter.
Oh, yeah. They're going to cut these down a little bit.
Show a little leg.
Daddy's home.
I didn't think you were noticing that.
Yeah,
All right, that's good. That's
He's
good.
like, I'm going to wear my triathlon clothes.
Go wear my wrestling outfit.
Yeah, the Borat.
Yeah. No socks today, baby.
Yeah. All legs.
But it's a funny, like, I mean, it's just, I have friends that they'll, I mean, with Nick, I have bikes that I have flat pedals on that it's just, I guess, coming from like the racer background, being able to like let loose a little bit and like, oh, I have regular pants on today and like tennis shoes, so being able to just go out and do a ride and you're just riding your bike. You're not like putting on your special shoes and your special pants for it and stuff. You're just going out and enjoying the bike ride. So it's trying to blend a little bit of both of those things. It's been Nick's been a great way he's been the gateway to that whole thing where it's like, just have fun and,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, there's times that, you have goals that you want to do or like beat times at certain places but then sometimes it's just like, just hop on the bike and go. Like there's something to be said about like just leaving your house on your bike and going somewhere and just, grabbing some food or meeting a friend or running into somebody. It's just, I don't know. I love that.
And you're not walking to the gas station in like bike shorts and clippy shoes and stuff like that. It's yeah.
Well, I think there was a time when I was a little turned off by kit, and it was when I worked at Soleil's, because I still like to ride my bike, and the Sweet Corn Farm in the Valley right on the towpath. And it would be like some dude in their 50s, totally white dude, who had some super expensive carbon bike. They're totally like overweight, which this is not like body shaming. I'm just saying like the lightweight bike is not going to make a difference.
Yeah.
The Aero kit is not going to make a difference. And they're like walking around clipped in like with their clippy shoes, and they would act so entitled. And then when they went off, they would like yell at everyone, like any car or any tractor. Yeah. And I was like, dude, like aerodynamics and like weight are not the issue here. And like again, I don't mean this is like a put down on any body size. Right. But it was just like at that point, I'm like, you're watching way too much like pro stuff. You could ride your bike way more comfortable, because they would go off and ride down like, at 10 miles an hour, which is fine. You could also be comfortable and be in full clothes and be in a position that's not hurting you. Like that was kind of the thing where I was like, okay, like if you're racing, I was a swimmer growing up. I wore a Speedo when I raced. When I went to the beach, I put on regular ass bathing suit. Like I was,
There's no
in case somebody. I kept one in my bag though, in case somebody would race, just in case,
I guess that's like my best analogy. It's like you're racing. You wear racing stuff. You ride a racing bike. You're going for a ride.
You're just riding at that point, I mean,
and again, if it's your only bike,
you're
going to take it. That's fine. Like because I realized I had that realization too. I was down in Florida. Outside, what's the capital? Tallahassee. And I went to their mountain bike trails. I had been riding the trails. I'm like, I'll break off on the mountain bike trails and see what they're like. And they were a ride through the woods. There was nothing. There was no elevation. There weren't even any banks. It was like I was on, I think they rented me a Diverge or something, and they had it on like 38. So it was fine. It was more than capable of doing. And I passed people on like full suspension bikes and all that. And I'm like, and I had that thought to myself, well, that's a little overkill. But I'm like, this could be the bike they own. And they're they ride here, but then they do trips and they go and ride
Right.
crazy stuff. You don't know what people are doing when you're not,
Right.
like, so you
Yeah.
can't judge in
Mhm.
that kind of.
Yeah, that's just like a negative out thing too. Like, I just, sometimes people show up on bikes that they don't have any money into them, and they'll rip just as hard as anyone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I think that kind of takes away is like, bikes are for like bringing people together. Like, you're just all out here having fun. Like, for me, it just like takes me back to being a kid. Like, you're ripping around the neighborhood with your friends, laughing. It's like, that's like the big draw for me is like, yeah, it's cool to get some exercise from it, but it's like more like a mental thing. I feel like you almost get like, meditative, like you're just out there ripping, having fun. And that's really, I think, like I've met so many cool people through bikes. Like just all of my favorite people in my life, I was pretty much from bikes. Like,
and it continues too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, obviously with just doing the show where it's kind of opened it up to just different people that we met along the way where it's like, I mean, a year ago, I didn't know probably half the people that we've kind of come across with this whole thing too. So it's been super like eye-opening. And, I've been in, with the cycling stuff for 30 years now, and it's, you're full of surprises with that. The people involved in the whole cycling world are always the coolest, where it's, whether it's working in the bike shop or just riding trails and stuff like that, it's always been fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying that was like going to bike events, meeting more people is one of the things I really like doing now. It's like broadening the horizon. I'm not super outgoing naturally, but it's like I always say this to people, like when you're at work, you talk to your coworkers with no fear. You get to know them, you spend every day together, and I just feel like you have that in because you have work to talk about. And when you work with people, you never talk about work when you're at work. You go hang out with them, you talk about work nonstop. And I feel like the bike thing is like, it's great for introverts. It's great because people are like, they'll message me, I ride alone. I want to have like a group of friends like yours. I'm like, well, go to your local bike shop, see if they have any group rides going up. I was like, go on Facebook or Instagram, see if your community has anything. I was like, but if not, all it takes is like posting that. Like, none of this stuff is real. Like when it's just a bike ride, it's like, it's an Instagram post. We're leaving from the bike shop at 6. See if 3 or 4 people or 10 people show up and have like a chill ride, show people what the destination are. And I was like, and if you feel nervous, all you have to do is ask someone about their bike.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everyone wants to talk about
Or
it.
make a compliment. Yeah.
Like, oh, is that Shimano? Is that 2-speed? That's all you have to do. And you're on your way. And you're going to be friends.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the cyclists, we're all like, the introverts.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of us out there, where it's like you're not common or you're not comfortable in the big group setting and stuff too. So it's, I don't know. It's tough to get to know people, but I feel like the relationships you get out of it are pretty
more
pretty good
genuine
too.
than really anywhere else in life, I feel like.
Yeah.
You got a lot of time to talk when you're riding, but you're also doing something that you both love. Anyone you meet loves doing it. So.
Yeah.
Like I said, people are nerds about their own equipment, so that's the easiest in the world.
Yeah,
right.
It really
Yeah.
is.
Make a compliment on it. Love the color of your bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donald, he's down in Cincinnati. I love flat pedals too. I've seen many a face plant due to clips. I used to ride cages on the vintage bikes, which are way more dangerous than.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll get
absolutely.
we'll get on repair bikes from time to time, and it's like there was a point in time when that's all I rode. And you're like, how did we ever ride these things? Like you're attached.
Two movements to get yourself out of like that.
Yes. Clipless I always come out of. Like, however I crash, your feet come out of there.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Pretty
like.
naturally.
I think it's pretty typical. Everyone's gonna like do a stupid stop sign fall once.
Oh, constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I did that on the Peugeot with cages. I remember like coming up to a stop sign, go to put my foot down because I had been riding something different the day before, and it was like, up.
Falling
Oh,
over.
here we go. Slow motion. Oh, boy.
Army surplus pants, crusty T-shirt, and lycra padded shorts underneath. Yeah. That is the other thing a lot of people do is you wear the kit underneath some normal clothes. Like our friend Ames, she was like the gravel champion of Ohio last year.
Very fast.
But when she knows we're just like going for like a ride, she wears all that stuff, but then she throws on some jean shorts and a t-shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
You're definitely dressing for your crowd, or
Yeah.
who you're going to be riding with too. So
Yeah, bike shorts under jean shorts really is a power move too. If you're going for like a long day, they definitely make a difference.
I have found for me, and I said, like, again, you can't ever recommend saddles for anyone, and I hate it. But with the Brooks, like the leather saddles, I'm just fine on normal shorts. But I think it's just because I never rode with anything.
Yeah, I need to try like a leather one. I've really had good luck with like the C17. I have 2 of those on
the
2 of my bikes, the Cambium, and I love it.
It seems to split. People love those. So like Otis hates the B17s. He's traded me a couple. And then when I first borrowed the Gunner to try from him, he had a Cambium on it, and it like hurt. I could barely walk after I rode it.
Yeah,
So
like
it's
this is not cool.
I discovered the mountain biking at East Rim. ASCOR compliant. Usually, I can't. Oh man,
Yeah.
there's a typo in there, and I can't tell what he's trying to say. Oh, talking to
Ask
people
for
once they're out
compliment a
there.
bike.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's when I first realized I was old. I was actually at Hampton, and I was on the trek, and someone goes, "Cool vintage bike." He's like, "Oh, it's made in the USA too," and I'm like, "I bought this bike new." I'm like, "Oh, I got old." Like, you know?
Dang it.
Yeah, I always rode the metal cages on the vintage bike because it needed the vintage look,
Yeah.
you know. But
Ties the whole bike together.
on the Trek, I do have those. They're like the Velcro straps with like kind of classic flat pedals, but they have the Velcro
like the
straps.
track ones, or
Yeah, and they're super easy to like reach down and loosen or tighten. So if you'd be on a long stretch of bike path, you're kind of tighten them in a little bit, or if you're going to go for a climb, tighten them down. But if you're just chilling, you could even just flip them over and ride with them. So for like a touring bike, the way I was riding that,
it was perfect for that.
yeah,
right?
perfect. Or if it wasn't loaded, and sometimes I'd ride it fast. Again, triple for the win. Do anything you want. Take a load up a hill, or just be like blasting in. What? Those are probably. I think that's got a 50-11 probably is the hardest gear, right? Yeah. 9-speed Shimano 105. Yeah. I've been so tired after a ride I couldn't get my feet out and just fell over. Yeah.
Well, shoot.
Yeah, and like I said, I just you can't recommend saddles to people. Everyone is so different. Like
Yeah,
you can only recommend if they already have a frame of reference. If they're naming saddles they don't like.
right.
But I always say if you have a local bike shop you like, they usually have floor models you're allowed to try out.
Right.
And that's kind of the best thing you can do.
Like the only thing more unique than your thumbprint is your butt.
Yeah.
You know? So
I do find so like
oh
There-
yeah, for sure.
but there's a lot of people who don't realize how good modern flat pedals are. So like my favorite are Deity Blade Runners, but
Oh
they're
yeah,
like,
those are sick.
but they've got the pins, and if you're wearing the right shoes, like even old schools work fine, but like especially like 510s or something, you almost feel like you're clipped in. It's not like
Right.
you're not attached to the bike at all. So
Right.
my feet aren't slipping around once I get my position, you know.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, when they think of flat pedals, they're picturing like the old metal box ones. I moved all my stuff for years. I had everything in the same spot, so
Okay.
I would be able to
You're
reach
pointing
out
to
and
it.
be like, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like modern flat pedals are very good, and they're bigger, so you have like your foot
Yeah, and
is
some
in
of
it.
them even have like a concave a little bit, so like you really just kind of sink right into there, and it's
Yeah.
like
So I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just saying you can rip it up on modern flat pedals. You are not.
yeah, you can
they-
even almost kind of pull up on them too if you
Yeah.
kind of tilt your foot down. You can really.
I
But
just switched over here too.
I mean, I used them when I raced BMX.
I know, that's what I'm
would
saying.
ride
It's like
with
a
them
natural
lot, 'cause
progression.
It's like you
We're just
have
gonna go
to,
there.
if you're gonna like competitively ride bikes, like you have to clip in. Like you can't. I just feel like you don't even have a, arm to reach with. You
What's
know,
his
like-
name? Sean Kelly. You know, the British,
Oh, yeah,
famous
absolutely,
British cyclist. One of the. What's his nickname? He has a nickname, like all great cyclists do. But he was, I don't know. Anyways, one of the best classics riders of all time. Even won tour and Giro stages. But he went switch to clipless, and the reason he did is because he finally felt bad that the neutral service cars had to keep one bike on the roof
For him.
that had cages. Yeah. So he's like, fine. So whoever it was at the time, probably Mavic, right? Neutral service.
Probably,
like,
yeah. Yeah.
So that's the reason that got him to switch to
Okay,
clipless.
that's a great story. I didn't realize that. Huh.
The King Kelly. Yeah.
Okay.
I listened to him still because I would not bootleg, but I would VPN the races so I could listen to the British commentary. Because I
Is
felt
he
like,
on there doing the commentary on? Okay.
but he's funny because he like, you know, like when you listen to commentary, if like someone doesn't agree, like watching football, whatever it is, someone doesn't agree, they kind of like have a roundabout way of saying, like, you know, like Sean Kelly. Not at all.
No.
So
fair.
his Irish accent, he's just like, no, I won't agree with that at all. Actually, when we were riding it, and just
Like, I'll fight you.
Yeah,
Like-
it was the best. I'm like, oh, he talks just like he rides. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's
Like
gonna
I
be
said,
right.
I'm
He's
at
in it
it.
to win it.
Yeah.
MKX pretzels. Those are like the big. One thing I don't like about a lot of the MKS and some of the flat pedals that I see is one thing that I really like about the Deity Blade Runners is the low profile.
Yes.
Like a lot of the other ones have like a really high, like
Yeah.
they're really fat.
Yeah, I have a set of the black hats on one of my bikes, and they're thicker than the Blade Runners, but they're thinner than like the Death Traps.
Yeah.
And the Death Traps are sweet too. And the bang for the buck, those pedals
The
rip.
Death Traps are great though because they have the concave. Because
Yeah.
I have a couple of the compounds, like the Riviera has the compounds, and one other bike does too. And they're exactly what you're saying. The spindle is too high.
Yeah.
So it's like you're not getting that, like where your foot's
Mhm.
settling in.
Yeah.
So I would never recommend a pair of the Deity compounds again. The Death Traps for like the same kind of price, like have that concave
Yeah.
feeling for plastic, like really nice pedals. Yeah.
Yeah, and for being plastic, I mean, they last. I had a pair of those on a bike forever.
I always do the old flying W when bunny hopping flats. What's the flying W? Is that
the legs out?
Oh,
that
is
is?
that what that? Probably.
Yeah.
Not the best way to land.
Yeah, people always say that, and like, I'm not gonna say I've never cut myself on like the pins on my pedals.
Well, the old ones, but
Right.
the old ones, the new ones, keep your shoes.
I mean, it's the same thing as like
kinda
saying
so
like
well.
you could go head over heels with clips. I mean, it
Yeah.
could happen, you know.
Yeah,
But
anything could happen. But yeah, I've never. Again, like when you kick yourself in the shin with like your BMX when you're a kid,
Mhm.
it's because you're like standing there talking to your friends and you're doing something stupid. Like I don't. It's
Yeah.
like being an adult bike rider. Like I'd never just kick my pedals around and hit myself.
right, like,
That's
oh,
that's gonna-
again.
And that's also gonna hurt no matter what pedals you have. Like,
Right.
They would, like you're right. They could cut you, but
If you're not like doing tricks like
yeah.
hopping 360s off a staircase, you're probably not going to catch it that bad.
I think when I first got him, Otis warned me. He's like, "You drink a lot and ride your bike. You need to be careful with these." And it's
Yeah,
like,
I got a disclaimer.
but I
yeah.
can also like wreck my
Yeah,
bike.
right,
Like,
yeah, I can get hit by a car.
Yeah, which always. I'm not familiar with the always. But yeah. Pull 'em up.
I bet by the end of this thing, you get a lot of tabs.
Yeah. Get real lost.
Lost
Oh,
That's a
okay.
good
I've
looking
seen
pedal.
these.
Yeah.
Pathless Pedal has showed these before. If you guys follow. I don't know.
Actually, that's really nice.
Yeah, those are pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, they look sweet.
Yeah, I don't worry about the pins. Like I said, if I cut myself on them, it's because I'm being stupid. Like not
Yeah, I heard
because
it. Yeah.
you know.
I deserved it.
I do agree
It's
with
karma.
that. There are times when you're hiking a bike and you could. I've definitely been in situations where you couldn't ride and you're pushing the bike, and that you have to be conscious of where the pedals are.
The
going.
pedals hit your legs before?
Yeah, because
Okay.
they're just big.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Somehow, like, this has happened to me a couple times, like, just doing something stupid and it gets the back of my leg. Like, I'm pushing the bike
Oh,
or
I've done
something,
that.
stop, and
Scratch.
then, like,
Shit.
yeah, like, I
Or
got
calf. I mean,
blood coming down the back of my calf. Like,
if we're not doing tricks, then what do we do?
yeah, if we're not doing shit.
Hot dogging.
Yeah, dude.
This guy comes from the BMX world, and now look at it. He might as well be a dad.
Yeah, mine as well. I mean, like, don't be doing 360s and stuff. Like, don't even hop off the curb. You could hurt yourself. That's not what bikes are for, dude. Take care of them.
He's still there. Like this.
I know, look at this guy.
I like that.
He's not a super cuddly cat. It's when I'm down here for some reason. He's just.
Podcasts just make him cozy.
So Tim, have you done like brew rides before? Like as far as like where you're doing like
He's
a
like,
couple
yeah,
different breweries?
3 times a week, dude.
Yeah, why? What are you doing tomorrow? Is that why?
Have you ever organized one where you're like, you know, you have a set goal in mind where you're going to hit 3.
No, I've never done like a brewery tour type thing, but like that's what like me and my friends like Friday night. It's
That's
like,
just Friday night.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or Saturday, it's like, hey, let's. And we like do extended ones too, where it's like, let's get down. What's the one we just went to out in not Ashland. What's the name of that universe? But we'll plan like we'll go like park our car somewhere
Okay.
and be like, we're gonna do like 60 miles today in the middle.
And the breweries are part of the 60 miles?
Yeah,
No kidding.
yeah. We'll
Wow.
like make them the mid stop for lunch or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting to me when people are like, you guys stop for lunch and drink beers and then keep riding, and people are like, I couldn't do that, and I'm like, why not? Then you're full of food and beer. It's great.
It's the best carb. yeah, like that's better than any gel, dude.
But yeah, so yeah, like I've never organized something for like a group. Like I said, I am pretty uncomfortable at being like an organizer. I like helping.
Okay.
Like if someone else is going to be in
Yeah,
charge,
you're like the
and they're
second guy,
"Hey,
you know,
it's-
like-
there's, yeah, but yeah, I love doing that. I mean, riding out to like a place, grabbing drinks, grabbing food, or multiple places.
Yeah, yeah.
But
What when did we do that last year? Like August or September?
Yeah, I think it was like end of August maybe.
Okay. We had like 5 breweries. We met at Missing Falls.
Yeah, we still like out in Akron.
Yeah, it was within like 16 miles.
Yeah. We got wrangled up though.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
5 breweries in 60
yeah,
miles.
you gotta do a pint at each one.
Yeah.
It's like when you see like the bus pull up on people who are doing a brewery tour, and you're sitting there trying to have peace, but they're at the 5th one, and they all come in.
Like,
We made it the whole time. I feel like we were troopers, but
Yeah.
it was by the time we got back to the cars. It was
yeah, we
like,
stopped at our last stop was at Magic City, and they had like one that was like what
10%,
12% or
yeah,
something. And
Who
that's
organized this?
this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just your ride.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah,
just
we
like
had, a couple of guys from the bike shop and
Oh.
stuff.
yeah. My mom, a couple of her friends. It was a family affair.
It was a family affair.
Yeah. My sister was real wrangled up. She was misbehaving. I remember like at Thirsty Dog, like she was like laying on her back, and my mom was like pouring a beer from like up high down into her mouth, like a 3-point shot. I was like, damn.
Takes practice, yes it does.
So
Yeah.
So it's funny because on St. Patrick's Day, we've gone out a number of years, and I go out with my buddy Bob, who he's retired, isn't he? I guess he's probably in his 70s. And so after a couple years of like going downhill pretty quickly, I was like, we need to, after we have our initial beer, so we meet at the abandoned train bridge over the towpath, if you know where that is, like at the end of Summit Lake. So we call it the beer bridge because during COVID, it was like what we
You guys
did.
drink there?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just you go and it's got the high steel, like, walls,
Okay.
like a train bridge does. So you could like just sit down on the tracks are gone, sit down on the ties and drink a beer, watch people go underneath on the towpath,
Mhm.
whatever. So meet at the beer bridge, have our beer, and then I was like, we need to then like go to Barberton, like, and have our breakfast and our next beer, and then come back to Akron, like. Give it a little space,
Yeah.
we can't just hit Missing Falls in Akron.
They're
and-
hammering them down here. Ride a mile, have one. Ride a mile, have one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then I'm meeting up with Wes at the Zubs, and it's just all downhill before you even get anywhere.
Yeah, it's like noon and you're like
Like I need a shooter. Fire up some shooters.
Yeah, we had such a good time though. It was I think the next day we were talking like I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was like time travel.
Yeah, Coco had to drive me home. Like I was, I had planned on riding home, but I was just like,
Oh,
that
you
was
were?
too many.
No kidding. Okay.
Well, yeah, I think that she just was like, yeah, I'll probably just drive your truck down. It would make more sense.
Gotta oil the machine. Good heavy stout this time of year. Yeah, I get into stouts this time of year too.
Words of the wise.
And Donald, he came up. He was up for a brewing and distilling conference from Cincinnati, and me and him rode out to Bell Tower, which is cool. So that's like about 10 miles from here. On
Yeah.
the Freedom Trail.
Yeah.
And then cool thing here is you can ride the hike and bike out, take the Freedom Trail back, which takes you downtown Akron, then cut across. So do a loop going out to Kent without riding the same way. And Kent's got what, 4 good breweries now?
Yeah.
Northwater, Bell Tower, Madcap. There's one more out there. Or is it just 3?
Yeah, I think it's.
Maybe it's just the 3.
Yeah, you just hit Madcap or Bell Tower.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of breweries around here.
Yeah. We've lost a couple, unfortunately. Well, the unfortunate one is Akron because they were good.
Right.
Don't
Yeah.
really mind losing our shake because
Right.
they were good.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked Akron a lot. R.I.P.
Yeah, that was a bummer. Wasn't even really their own fault. It's kind of just a bad situation. Brewery training ride is riding north along the bike trail to Rockford, drinking beer and getting food and riding back. Where's Barry's up in Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the big one, right? That's
It's a pretty big race, yeah.
We were talking about jean shorts earlier, and Ames said when she was lining up for Brewery, they had like the corrals for like, it was all like it wasn't like certified, like, you know, in a marathon you don't have to be like the under 2.5 hour guys to get into it, but it was
You
like
could just step up there.
but it was separated to be like, we're the racers. And she said there was a guy in like a long white tee and jean shorts and like an old bike who was standing like right up on the line.
No way.
And she was like, this guy is about to destroy everyone. And then she said as like more and more people pulled up like in their kit and their fancy bikes, like he was looking around more and more and being like, oh, I'm in the... She said slowly.
Yeah, like, yeah. This ain't my crowd.
This wasn't like you get here early and you're in the front. This is for the fast people. Like the realization must have dawned on him. She was like, for a while though, she was like, I was so stoked that this guy was just going to shred everybody.
Destroy.
But then it turned out he was just in the totally wrong place.
I was a little confused. Like that joint before the race didn't really sit well.
I came up here to be alone.
Yeah, he's like, why is everybody kidding around me, dude?
Yeah, stouts and porters in the winter. But once it gets summer, it's so funny. I'm like, I go somewhere new and I'm like, I'm not going to get the hazy. I'm not going to get the hazy. Then maybe my girlfriend was looking. She's like, what are you getting? We're both getting the hazy.
Yeah, what did I lie? Why lie to ourselves?
Yeah.
We know what we want.
The grippy flats are more ergonomic except for the shin wounds. Huh. I think there's probably a couple scars on here, but I just think, again, like it's from being dumb, not from...
Your shoes always stick.
Yeah.
They always stick.
Yeah, I think that most of mine were from doing something stupid.
Yeah. Trying something you shouldn't be trying or drinking too much. So...
Yeah.
Homer Simpson
Bush kid. I love that.
Yeah, it's funny. I've actually run into a couple bike friends who are doing that. Like, oh yeah, we're just hitting a bunch of breweries, and then you keep talking. You're like, oh, these guys are shit faced.
Oh, yeah, these dudes are rank.
You're talking about in the middle of the ride.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, if you guys,
I feel like it happens too. Like people don't like, and it's like a weird thing when people start getting drunk. Like too, like they just will deny that it's even happening. Like, oh, I'm not buzzed at all, and it's like you are clearly buzzed. Like, and I don't know why that happens, but like, yeah, it's like. And then they'll be, next thing you know, they're hammered. Like, not buzzed at all.
I like when I head out to Missing Falls on a Sunday, like not later in the day, but like early afternoon, and like some of the Yetis are still there. I'm like, oh, these are the dudes who had a couple and are hanging around the party.
Are they riding home too, or
well,
on it?
most of them, anyone who's still sitting there, yeah, that's usually their plan. It's like, oh, I'm riding my bike. Who cares?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
That's why.
Yeah, lawless land on the bike.
Ain't no one going to catch me.
yeah. I don't think Akron's cops can catch me on a bike.
We early on doing our rides like with Woody, because Woody doesn't even drink or anything anymore, which is fine. But like there's a couple times where we got pulled over by cops coming home, like from East Akron and stuff. And back then we didn't plan good routes. We were just like, oh, it's here, and we just take like the main roads.
Most direct.
Yeah.
Just like Market. Like,
We're taking this left lane to Market the whole way.
Yeah. So dumb. When Otis started riding with us, he was like, I remember going down Canton Road one night, and like these trucks are going by us, and we just had some beers, and we're like hauling ass, and he's like, why are we doing this? Like, there's other ways to go around town. But we didn't think about it, but you start out, you're just like, whatever.
It's the road, right?
Yeah, it's just the road. This is how you get there.
Yeah.
This is how I drive my car here.
That's exactly how I drive, dude. This is the way to get there. I know where I'm going.
But we had a couple like cops pull us over, and they're like, you guys need to get over all the way. And we're like, we started arguing with them, like 2 abreast, like blah blah blah, like closest to the curb is practical. And then, like, the realization would hit you. It's like, we're also kind of drunk, and we also just smoked a joint. Maybe we should stop arguing with the police.
Yeah, like, you know what? You're right.
They're wrong about this point, but they could also get us first.
Yeah, like, going to jail now. Yeah.
So you guys actually, like, you did stop, like, they flashed, and you guys just pulled off to the side, too?
Yeah, because you're just going down, like, there's nowhere to run when you're, like...
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny that you're like, I think they're pulling us over right now.
Just hurry up and do a 180 real quick, like, hit him with the old rope and do like, sucker.
I mean, now that's more what we... now, because we're riding through, like, abandoned factories and, like, doing what we do, it's like...
Like, you're not going to stop, right?
Yeah. It's like now the rule is like, everyone knows. It's like, man, if you're not going to run and you're going to get caught, you don't snitch either. That's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be telling me. My friends just went down that way. I got their addresses.
Yeah. It's a totally different scene than we started. We got into it with a car coming out of, like, we were down in Peninsula, and this is early on, like 2015 or something, over Woody and a couple other people, and we're like bombing down, and this car came up and they started yelling at us, and I just spit right on the driver,
No.
right through the window, right at him, nailed him, and down the road a cop pulls us over, and it's Eddie. I know him because I worked at Slade's for so long. And then he starts saying that. I'm like, I don't know. They're just like mean, angry drivers. They're probably just making everything up to get us in trouble. And there's one guy, a new guy who showed up that week. And he was just like, and then we leave. And he's like, and then this new guy knew the cop. Like, I can't believe it. But it's always the play dumb like thing out there. And especially when you're in like the smaller towns. Like that wouldn't work as much as in Akron. But there's
some other dudes on bikes.
Yeah,
I've seen them. Yeah,
there was one dude, he like whipped his bull off into the farm field.
Did you go back and get it?
He said he went back the next day and found it.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
Daylight.
Wild.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff you can get into. Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny though. We had way more trouble riding just the straight, like I said, the main roadways than we ever do now. Like exploring like the gray areas,
right? Yeah, it's much better to be off the road. I feel like, and two, like it's just like sometimes people in cars, I feel like it's just like they don't realize the gravity of like how bad you can hurt somebody.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, in that second they're just mad and want to be mad about you be taking up some space in the road. And it's like, I got just as much right to be here as you do. Like, where it's like if you can just get off the road, and we're like so lucky to have like all the bike and hikes and the Freedom Trail and the towpath. Like, you can navigate so much around Ohio.
Yeah, we're surrounded by bike trails out
It's
here.
awesome.
But I also used to literally ride down State Road when I first moved here, and now I'm like, why would I do that? There's neighborhoods with parallel streets,
right?
Because it's like I would go out. I remember that I got to a point where I'd be like going out getting mad at drivers every day.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I ride my bike to enjoy myself. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, leave 10 minutes early and take a better route. Go down to the valley, come around on my way to Akron. I don't need to go the most direct way there. Like,
let's see some cool shit.
Yeah. I enjoy riding my bike. Why am I making this a miserable experience?
Right.
And I remember that hit me and it changed everything. Started to plan routes beyond just the exploring things. Just if I want to go down to Giant Eagle, I don't need to go straight down State. I could go 2 blocks over and get there in the same amount of time.
Right, yeah.
But
cut down side streets.
Yeah, or I could leave 20 minutes earlier and make it a fun ride,
right.
Add some miles. Like you're saying for a commute. Like I'm sure on a cold day, like I'm going to get there in 2 miles. But if it's a nice day, you're probably like, oh, I'll wind my way around this way or that way.
Right. It's the, remember Family Circus, the comic strip?
Yeah.
It always had like the little map from one of the kids that would go around the neighborhood and stuff like that. So that was always my way of, with the bike ride and stuff like that, where it's like, you're never taking the most direct route. It's like, what's the most fun I can do here? And still get to the same destination.
Yeah.
But, you're still kind of looping around and going through this little bit of woods and, just mixing it up a little bit,
Akron, we have so much.
So much.
Cool
yeah, we're so
content.
fortunate to have.
Yeah, it's like why, yeah. We keep getting bummed. They keep tearing down more and more of the old factories that we love going to visit, but
knock
the
it
rest.
off. Yeah.
As the Canton guy here, like you guys have like so much cool stuff up here. Like doing Otis Roubaix last year with Nick. I mean, it was just like, where are we at right now? And just being able to see everything, it's a nice tour of Akron. Being able to do that thing.
Yeah, that shows you places that you would never.
I'm never gonna ride here.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna ride here.
Yeah.
And I love this. Like that was just you're going up a hill just to turn around and come back down.
Yeah, like what?
Like, we just
Wait, we're just climbing here. Like,
what an awesome ride.
And then it was probably 2 or 3 months ago. I rode with you and Aaron Novak,
mm-hmm.
where we're like riding through like I don't know where we're at right now. It was like homeless encampments and all kinds of crazy stuff. Where it's like
that's what I call the industrial gravel.
Yeah, I would never go there on my own, but it's like, all right, I guess I'm just I'm along for the ride, and you're making the best of it. But it was awesome though, just cool, unique ride and stuff. And
we have those great abandoned because there's so many abandoned train tracks that like the trains are gone, the railroad ties are gone. You could follow these routes. They're factories are gone, or even some old roads are gone. There's so many cool places to go.
Yes.
I went out and visited some people in Pittsburgh, and they showed me a ton of that
A lot of
stuff
same
too out
stuff.
there. But I just watched a video of someone doing Ohio to Erie, and they're like, and it's all flat because Ohio's flat. I'm like, no, the Ohio to Erie is flat because you're following railroad
Right.
canals.
Right.
But you break off that stuff. Like Akron is
Yeah.
not flat. Like you did the Otis
No.
Bay. I think what is
Yes.
that, 6,500?
It was so much climbing for
Yeah.
34 miles or whatever.
It was
Yeah.
4,200 feet, I think, for
Okay.
34 miles.
Oh man,
So over the ratio.
I think both of us were just kind of like, I think the first 10 miles we were like, are you feeling crappy right now? Like,
Yeah.
I'm feeling really crappy. We kind of came around, but it was just non-stop climbing with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's his goal. He's trying to show you how much climbing there is around.
Man,
Right.
it hurt.
Yeah.
We had a really great time with that one.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's fun, and they're old brick roads and all that stuff
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like old.
Alleys, all kinds of crazy stuff. Most people are never going to ride through that stuff.
Right.
What was the cemetery we went through?
Glendale.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was. I never would have thought to ride through that one too.
Oh, that's a cool spot. We went
Yeah.
out here out there in the snow a few weeks ago. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's a cool cemetery. It's
Did we go
spooky.
Cadillac in the race? Or
Yeah, Cadillac.
I hate saying race, but
Yeah,
in
the ride. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did
Cadillac, which is one of the steepest.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
bricks
And it's like
change halfway.
cobblestone. Yeah, you're bouncing around.
That one is like a real balancing act. Like I'm like, because I can make it,
Mhm.
but it's like if I try and stand up, then the back tire starts
Mhm.
skidding. So you're trying to lean back. So you're trying to like balance exactly the power you need to get up
Yes.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I actually just read a really interesting book called Written on the Hills, and it's about how Akron came to be in this space, and then it's all the way from like the prehistoric, from the pre-glacial stuff to the glaciers carving it out, to then the city being set here because of the canal,
Yeah.
and like when they build out all the roads and the way they modified it, just as an Akronite, absolutely
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, that sounds
of,
awesome.
like how the city came to be in such a weird spot, like because there was no city here. It's only here because of the canal.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like
Gotcha.
there were already cities around and villages and stuff,
Mhm.
but this literally was like a planned city because the canal was going to come right through it, and it made no sense. But a rich guy, just owned land here, and he got the people in Ohio
Set
to
up
put the
shop
canal
and
through
everything.
here,
Huh.
put it through where I own the land.
Yeah. Power move.
Yeah, yeah. Because why would you send a canal up and over a Summit
Yeah.
County?
Right.
Yeah, I finally got that. We're like, oh, Summit County.
Summit
Okay. We
Akron
gotta
is
climb up this
Akron
one.
is Acropolis. It's the same root word as like the Greek, like Acropolis
gotcha,
or anything
okay.
that means hill in Greek.
Oh,
They
no
just-
kidding. I didn't
yeah.
know that. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
High place. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah.
Huh. Well, shoot.
I know. Interesting. I'm glad anything like I got that one. I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
All right, should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
So, 12 to 6, Saturday,
22nd.
22nd.
Yep.
Yep.
If you're a vendor, we have early setup on Friday the 21st from 6 to 8. And then if you want to come in like an hour, like we'll say 11 o'clock on Saturday for early setup on your table and everything. But yeah, like we have food at Missing Falls, beer at Missing Falls. We have a DJ, lots of cool old parts, hopefully.
Yeah, and everything will be secure too on between Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, so
They'll
if you
lock
set up,
everything
you're
in the
good,
event room, so like you don't have to worry about your stuff getting stolen. It'll all be locked up secure.
And this DJ, by the way, is the best DJ.
Yeah,
Brainwreck is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, hands down, best DJ in a tri-state area.
If you come out just to like do a little chatting, drink a beer, have lunch, and hang out,
Yeah.
that'll be cool.
Mhm.
There will, if you like cycling caps with Zephyrline, there's definitely something to buy, even
Yep.
if you're not into the vintage bike parks, or Frank with Lugs Not Drugs. There'll be cool stuff there no matter what. But even if you do just come to hang out, it'll be a cool hangout.
Yep.
So it's a great spot, great DJ, great beer. So
All the best things, finest things that Akron has to offer.
Burgers too.
Yeah,
Don't forget the
great burgers.
Yeah, the smash burgers that
Rubber
Missing
City
Falls.
Classic,
Yeah.
Royale with cheese. They're both
Right.
great. Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah. That's my go-to. It used to be the Rubber City Classic. I've switched to the Royale.
It's the
with
Royale.
cheese.
That's pretty
so
good
good.
too.
Yeah. They also have their tenders, the white barbecue sauce.
Oh my god. Yeah, I get that burger all the time. It's like the something down rodeo. It's got like the
Oh yeah, yeah.
barbecue sauce and it's got a onion ring on it and pickles
Never
and
had that one.
bacon. Oh man.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
worth it
cat's
for that.
meow.
It's
Yeah.
worth it for that.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. It's
Yeah,
fun
thanks
to
for having
nerd
us.
out about
Really
bikes
appreciate
and all
it.
that.
Yeah.
For everyone else, we'll see you whenever I upload another video.
If
See myself on your YouTube.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Cause
Yeah.
this not
Fitzwater photo.